kind of go from some end of the spectrum to the other. At some point, there's this feeling we get when we stare at it and we're like, that's creepy, that's not real. And that's kind of been the sort of the art, the thing to cross as play with Unreal Engine, or in this case, all the generative AI kind of fake humans that we're going to play with. That at some point, there's just this like, that's not real enough for me, so just give me a Pixar character. I'd rather just project onto some animated funny thing instead of something that's trying to tell me that that's me, that's human. So we're going to spend a lot of time in this idea today, because we're seeing what even in the last 12 months, how far this stuff has come. So we're going to look at how we're going to create characters today. We're going to learn about how consistency can be reached, which is the big sort of wonky term for the it works. And we're even going to see if we can get time into lip sync. So this is the full, like, how do I do that thing that movies do, which is they have characters that talk and emote. Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, or even like Polar Express. I mean, if we're referencing when it didn't go so well, right? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's sometimes it's how they work, sometimes it's how they move. So I think if you look at a frame of Polar Express, maybe it looks okay, but if you see it moving, that's what was creepy. In terms of Final Fantasy, is more how it looked. Although you could say that kind of a stylized approach, but yeah, it was the early days of can't get over that, uncanny valley.
And we're not there yet. I think for all people that I think still find, and I do think it's a degree of comfort in that when they look at something made by AI, they're like, I know that's AI, and that's like a good VFX person. I'm pretty sure we're not far away from most things not having that reliability anymore. And that's either a really good thing for people that use this technology to tell stories, and that's a choice they're making, or something really disturbing when you're trying to make sense of the news and wondering if what you're looking at is real. So all of the above, these emotions are all welcome. But we will look at my deck now. Here we go. So I also want to make a little bit of space. Did you guys get a chance to look at that keynote from Doug Shapiro for people that did homework? What stuck out to people? I mean, there's things I wanted to flag in it, but what stuck out to anybody that actually read it? I'm gonna pull it up. So Doug Shapiro used to be like a stats guy, like in Turner. And like, so his background is very much like legacy. So and he's like a big keynote speaker at like big like AI conferences to all like the sort of studio people. He's like everybody's favorite consultant. So this kind of thesis here is very seminal to how is the industry starting to make sense of this, not from their point of view, but from someone like him who's like a trusted voice who's telling him, hey, this happened before with streaming. Okay, like distribution got disrupted, and we can go through the stats of that kind of stuff. Am I at the end of this right now? I'm at the end, sorry. So this is the beginning. So I'm not going to do the keynote, but did anybody read this? Let's start there. Did you read it, Charles? Cool. What did you take away from it?
Well, I thought the idea of like him outlining the compliments. And
what does compliment mean to you? It's funny. It's kind of a weird word he chooses.
Because that's what I was actually going to ask you about it, because I kind of understand it going through this, but I didn't fully get it.
So compliment is like, it almost makes more sense in other stuff. I really encourage people to just start following him. He's got a great Substack called The Mediator. He's basically publishing in public his book, which will probably be a big deal when it lands, called Infinite Content. So he's just got chapter by chapter drops on his Substack. But in subsequent chapters, it makes more sense, the question you're asking. So the example he will use is Taylor Swift is a really good example of someone who spends a lot of time and energy recording music. The rough number on how much money she made selling records in the last album or cycle of the analysis he does is $300 million. She then makes $1.5 billion touring. So that is an example of a compliment, that the business you make on the other side of your content is the actual business. Another example is Mr. Beast. Does anybody follow Mr. Beast? I barely know him, but I suppose younger generations are into him. He loses money on YouTube. Okay, that is the big like red, jumbotron to understand what is going on in the creator economy. The most successful reference point for why YouTube has completely subsumed what we call television in a traditional P&L way of understanding profits, doesn't actually profit off of the money he puts into media. Why? Because he sells snacks, because he does deals with Starbucks, because he actually has core brick and mortar businesses that all of this is marketing for. And if you follow Doug Shapiro, he says things like, is all content marketing? Like in this universe that we're all starting to see, like how is the creator economy becoming the norm, not the sort of outlier? There's a new idea that movies, TV shows, IP isn't in and of itself the value. It's like Taylor Swift. Her IP, her music becomes the value that then drives the much bigger business. So it's just a way to start thinking about what's going on around us that frankly has nothing to do with AI. And he brings this up in the context of like, this is now the lagging effects of the original distribution disruption. And he creates a very interesting dichotomy, not dichotomy, like almost parallel that, you know, if you think about distribution used to be one stranglehold of this place called Hollywood. It used to be this one thing that says, if you wanted to have this idea to share with the world, you needed these people with access to that ability. They have the satellites, they have the abilities to approve that content. All the things that development executives and studio executives do. YouTube disrupted that. You guys grew up with that as a norm. I watched it happen. I watched it from inside of a cable network saying, wow, there's this millions of people on Twitch that didn't ask for any executive to let them. And to this day, YouTube's success story has no executives. There's no like studio boss at YouTube that sort of like makes the big decisions for which movie we make this year. So I'm saying that's a decentralized distribution network that is now the norm. So one of his main theses is that's the way to think about AI and generative AI, is that now what one stranglehold was distribution, production, the idea of doing something high quality, the idea of doing something that has impact, something that is, you know, used to require going to a school like this exclusively, or having access to knowing the right person at CAA, or being in the right family of the Coppolas to grow up and make your movies. Whichever pathway we can point to of why a movie got made, the idea is that, are we going to see a similar effect with the idea of production? That now stuff we're learning in this class of what this could mean to you and whatever interests you as artists is available in a way that and he's predicting that, and he's got a lot of stats to go through it. So I'd really, if anybody didn't read it, I hope this reminds you to check it out, because I do think this is a good way to think about where's this industry effect going. He's far from a crystal ball, but he's doing this with a lot of stats, which I think might be interesting for you guys to look at it. Did anybody else read it, and did anybody take something else totally different from it? Am I like pumping your brain into something that you're like, why are we talking about this? Did anybody else take a look at it? Okay, I encourage you to take a look. I think it's a good reading. I'm not going to ask you to do too many readings, but I do think these things might be helpful for your context. So I do want to acknowledge news cycle a little bit. A couple things happened this week that were a big deal. Did anybody notice anything in the news this week that interested them in AI? Anish? Yeah, I'm on a personal level. I don't engage with Grok, but I don't encourage people to do what I do. I'm just saying I should know more about that. But it is, people like it. It's supposed to be, benchmarks are good. People like that kind of stuff. But yeah, Genie 3. Did anybody notice Genie 3? I dropped it in the WhatsApp group for us. Did you guys pay attention to that? What is Genie 3? Did anybody look at it? In the back, like did you guys take a look at it? So Genie 3 is fun because it's an acronym. Generative interactive environments. Okay, so it's not just a fun reference to an Aladdin character. This is, I think, the horizon line for how I would be very open to, and Habib, stop me if I'm going too far on this. I would be very open to us getting excited about moments like this and really rethinking what's the most interesting thing that can happen while we're here this semester. Because I really think you guys are inside of a moment that this technology, and that you will have access to this. And that's like the biggest, like last semester, like this thing was just a press release. Ultra plans, which I'm pretty sure Brad's in the process of locking up for us, will include access to this. And I've already seen some of my friends in like my machine cinema community playing with this. I'm trying to find, is this the right? Let's see. I'll send the link around. You guys can Google it. Just to understand what you're looking at. Has anybody ever played like Grand Theft Auto or a big world game? Okay, so you're in the garage and like the story's over here, but there's this door, and you try to go through the door, nothing's there. That's the end of the game. There's nothing else. And then you're like, don't go there, there's stuff over here. The premise of this technology is that you will then walk through that door and it'll just keep generating pixel by pixel, frame by frame in real time the world. It will be a persistent world. If anybody ever watched a show called Star Trek that there's a lot of fans of around the world, there's a thing called the holodeck that the captain would say, call up the holodeck, and now I'm in a world. Like that's what we're looking at it. And what's interesting is Genie 2 kind of sucked. It was very pixelated. Like it looked like video games. And you can start to see what's going on in this fancy Google building as you guys get familiar with VO3, which is this hyper photorealistic technology that we're going to play with. Those guys are talking to these guys that are making generative interactive worlds. And what you're starting to also notice is those Nana Banana people are talking to them too. So we're now able to edit inside of this world. And it maybe still kind of looks janky. I would even encourage you guys, again, don't dismiss this stuff. Really start thinking about that spaghetti narrative of like, what does this look like when it is really good? Is this a sketch pad for you? Maybe this becomes a really interesting way to like throw a world together and whip it up and talk to your team of like, hey, what if the story went over here? Maybe that's enough. Play with it. Just like once you guys get access to it, I'm telling you, people in my community, they're like chomping at the bit to get access. Like this is like a $250 a month subscription to get access to this. And again, caveat that Brad needs to close the deal. I think he will, and if defer to lawyers. But like that's a really cool thing to have access to. So that happened this week. Also, something that I really want to figure out the second half of the semester when we get into advanced stuff. Did anybody notice Claude-bot? Okay. I dropped it in the chat. So there's Claude, which is like the other major LLM that is increasingly on the rise. Like ChatGPT's got some competition this year in the narrative. Claude is a big coding building superpower. And I think for anybody that really starts to see that opportunity and think about where you're building advantages for yourself, I would happy to talk more about it. And we're going to try to create some space for it this semester. Separately, in the sort of the meme world, somebody created a thing called Claude-bot. Which has nothing to do with Claude, and it has a W in it instead of a C-A-U-D. And I think the people at the other Claude said, hey, I think you might be confusing the marketplace. So they changed it, and now it's called Moltbot. So if you're actually going to look this up. But this is a really interesting thing for you guys to really just start seeing how all this stuff is connecting. Moltbot, formerly known as Claudebot, which it's literally like a line of code that all the Twitter people, and I can try to find the trusted ones if anybody wants to look at this, they're literally just giving you how-to videos. You literally just go into your terminal on your computer, and they encourage you to go get a Mac Mini, or I just got like a new laptop, so I'm going to use my other laptop that I don't care about, that you literally just run it, and it's your 24/7 assistant that just is always on, and you can communicate with it with like Telegram or WhatsApp or instant message. You can be like, hey, can you build that software I'm working on? And there's just this thing that's doing it. Can you send that email because it's linked up to your emails? It's pretty wild. So those are two of the big like noisy things that happened this last week. Happy to talk more about them, but I just want you guys to know what's noisy because I think this year's off to a bang in terms of this space. Samuel,
Can you go through like a demonstration of that?
I will. We really got to nail the stuff from but I'm happy to make space. And I think just so you guys know, everything that we're learning in fundamentals mode these next few weeks, as you guys make your own film, we're going to then make space to revisit to the extent that maybe some other tool just comes in and wipes the slate clean. I'm making space for that too, but I want the second half of the semester to lean into more advanced stuff. And I'm thinking of that as like what we did last week where we were learning about a project manage. I'm thinking about adding it there, but I can also just, again, I use the WhatsApp to forward you guys this stuff. And most people are just grabbing the stuff off the internet, and that's all I'm going to do, frankly. So I will retranslate it. I'm just saying, if there's anything that you're chomping at the bit, like it is highly available. You just got to find your trusted sources, and I'm happy to point you towards them. So that's where we're at for this week. I'm usually going to slow down. I just noticed I have a ton to cover. Any questions people have? Is anything going too fast? Anything like, why are we still talking about this? How are we feeling? How's everybody doing? Are we okay this week? I got a cold, so calm down. You all right? Lauren, are you okay? Everything's good?
It's a quick question.
Yeah.
Is Claude-bot the thing from the people did Claude?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's like the funny thing is they just kind of memed their way into, because Claude Cowork, again, as you spend time with this, was a big announcement like the week before, because they took like what was previously a highly coding like interface, which was like frankly a big part of last year. They found a way to make that very consumer friendly. So Claude Cowork is in and of itself, that's the thing I'm actually spending a lot of time with. But then like some dude just created Claude Bot, and it's totally open source. That's what's crazy about it, is it's completely free. And that's either terrifying, and that's why people recommend maybe use a second computer and limit its access to your personal stuff. But the Wild West people are just fully dropping this into their life, and there's like like the agent is here. And again, that's either interesting or scary. I'm always open to both emotions. All right. I also want to flag, I shared with you guys that Notebook LM resource. Some of you, I think, got the note that for whatever reason, USC is very protective of what you guys do with your USC emails. So things like that don't work. So for anybody that got that link from Brooks, if you would like to, and I'll show it to you again, it's this thing. I created this resource that's basically like a very active sort of like reference for you guys, like pretty much any major PDF that we find or website that's got tutorials that I think are foundational. I'm just going to keep loading it up here, and then this is your way to chat with it. Okay, this is your way to like constantly. It's better than Googling, because you're like inside of a closed set of data for what we're talking about in this class. So if anybody got that link, up to you. If you can send me your personal email. Some of you did that, and that's how it'll work for you. Again, I defer to the people that build firewalls. It does seem that same problem is happening, Habib, for Brad. Like for example, Google sent us like a testing opportunity of like that seems to be even more advanced than Genie 3. Like they're like, and some of us got the email today. The USC emails don't work for that. So I don't know what that means in a bigger way, but we're gonna at least Brooks is gonna send an email for everybody that expressed interest in that. Again, Google, whatever it is, it's like all behind like a big secret, like don't talk about it thing. So whoever wants to participate, that sounds cool to me, by the way. I'm doing it. Brooks, I think you might be doing it. Whoever wants to do that, you need to opt in, and I defer to Habib if that's something that needs to have some departmental oversight, but the opportunity is there to participate in Google's like early testing thing. And I copied Brad on the email thread. But this is, if anybody wants this resource for the class, same thing. You guys are gonna have to choose to use your personal emails. And then I think most of you are in the WhatsApp group. If you're not, again, I like it when you guys talk back. So far, I'm just in an echo chamber, but you're welcome to just check in on it. I think that's where I drop when CloudBot happens, when Genie 3, that's where I'm dropping it during the week. So we're not waiting for class. I hope that's interesting to you guys. All right, let's jump in. Actually, this is last week, isn't it? Sorry about that. This is this week. Cool. So this is what we're actually talking about. That must have been confusing for you guys. So let's take a minute and just watch some stuff. So these are just good examples of people that are kind of in the full suite, creating a character, creating a world, putting some sound in it, lip syncing, consistency. These are just like, I think, hopefully like a little bit of inspiration of what it looks like when you guys get to play with the tools we learned today. So this is a creator called Ron Baranoff. He's pretty prolific. Let's see what he did here. So this was using some tools that were a little bit noisier last year, but they're actually pretty comparable to Kling Motion, which we're going to be looking at. But I think like this is also to reference Uncanny Valley. It's probably a little bit easier for us to watch this because they're just, I don't know, some person with like a disco ball for a face, and it lets you go in, right? Like you can sort of experience it, and you know, like the way you watch a cartoon, you don't question if Tom and Jerry are real. If people watch Tom and Jerry, is that a reference point to people? Maybe Pixar movies. This one's a little bit closer, and I'd say that kind of two-person scene, like a therapy session, is basically homework this week. And it doesn't have to be as long as this, but I want you guys to start projecting into what we're going to try to do this weekend, of creating two characters that talk to each other. So he obviously spent a lot more time on it than that, but that's the skill set we're trying to learn. This is a kind of real OG of the space, Uncanny Harry, a good guy to follow. I think his name is Ryan Phillips. He, I think, used a more realistic approach. And this is pretty, I don't know if we're gonna watch all 4 minutes, but I just want you to. It goes on, but it's another two-person scene, and I just kind of wanted to show a compare and contrast. Obviously, here that he's going realistic. Um, I'm sure somebody wants to think that they definitely would have caught the AI, and that I think the lip sync is, and you'll see that as we think about the technique that he actually used, there's reasons why he's going for something that then have downsides. But to me, that's really the only edges that are showing in this, and I'd say the average person probably watches this and thinks that's probably a human. That aside, this is the skill set we're learning today. This is a combination of the generative video tools, but also this idea of Kling Motion. So that's a tool we're going to use that he used for this, where he used a driving video of himself. So this is where we are the actors if we want to be, or our friends who are very good at acting can be the actors. But we're using their body motions, their facial movements, and then that's driving a keyframe. And that's what he's displaying here. The first one was a slightly more rudimentary version of that. But this is kind of the principle. And I think, as you can see, that this is even 2026, end of January. And we're going to get a little tour of where we got to, where this has been before us. So, I mean, I always try to at least zoom back out and let's think about the movies. Is Peter Sellers a reference to people? Do we like Peter Sellers? Dr. Strangelove. The idea of an actor sort of enjoying the opportunity to inhabit many, many personas and roles. There's, whether it's Eddie Murphy and he's done it a few times, there's a precedent for this. And I think that's what, let's allow ourselves to think that this is a thing that we're building onto and finding our own way through. I think does everybody know Andy Serkis? Is he a reference point? Gollum for the Lord of the Rings fans, but obviously he's almost like his sort of place on the Walk of Fame or wherever he lands is so unique. He's almost like Boris Karloff if we go all the way back in film history, of just someone who has really lived at the edge of technology and his own persona and his own ability to emote and use that amazing face of his to be literally so many different, not even humans. Peter Sellers is still playing humans. Andy Serkis is he's playing monkeys. He's playing monsters from fantasy movies. So that's kind of the skill set here. And I'd say, if you imagine if the way that Peter Sellers got to put all of those characters in one movie, what you're saw in either of those two movies, those were individual creators that played both parts. They use their own performances, they use their own skills. So that is where you're inserting yourself as a director. Again, if that's just previs for you, if this is your way of doing an amazing table read without having to bring everybody in, leave it there. This could also be the way you're making your movie, right? So let's take a look of where we've been and where you guys are landing in this class. This is a 2-hour movie. Um, my friend Nem, who's currently the head of the studio at Promise Studio, which, as you guys become familiar with the players in the space, Promise is a pretty big deal. He runs the Genco studio, which works with like major kind of external partners like studios. So he's very much doing great. But before he landed that job, while a lot of people were out of work during the strikes, he gathered a bunch of people to remake Terminator 2 as a parody. So the legality is okay. We're allowed to make parodies. And they took every single scene from the movie and gave it to 50 different artists. Actually, Uncanny Harry was one of them. And then, again, this was like early days. And they strung out the entire movie. And it's an atrocity. Like that, you'll never watch this and think it's a movie. This is a trailer. This is a trailer for it. I actually think this belongs in a museum, excuse me, because it's an incredible like moment of the time capsule of the technology. But I just want you guys to sort of see, let me see, is it around here? Let's see. Anyway, you guys should watch it. The entire movie is on YouTube. If you really like, it's not really watchable, but it's interesting. It is interesting to just think about where, and this is like just over a year ago. The point is that's where character consistency was then, with a hyper familiar face like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, we're not even trying to introduce a character, and it was a total mess. And you could see this even how different artists are interacting with the same thing. What was interesting is in those early days, as these things were really dropping, so we've all heard of Sora, OpenAI's kind of contribution to the space. This was really, to me, like one of the first like attempts at storytelling with generative AI. So this is a group of artists out of Toronto called Shy Kids, and they made this. So what's interesting is, again, up until this point, I'm sure something existed for me to say this was the first, but most things that people were seeing come out of Sora or these tools were just kind of like, look, I made this shot. Like, look at this person walking across the street. This is the first time somebody, they had majorly made a story. And it's even kind of cool that, like, why would that film ever get made besides somebody independently financing it? They kind of got to tell a story that, you know, it was them and the friends. And actually, for what it's worth, it was a lot of VFX heavy stuff. But the point is that Sora definitely didn't have character consistency. And to them, that was a parameter to work with. And they just came up with a subject that, like, all right, we'll just throw a balloon on it, and that'll be my consistent character. Because they could, if you even just watch the shots, they couldn't get outfits consistent. So that's like where people just adapted to it and started working with these things almost as like artistic parameters. And funny, within like my community, this was a group of filmmakers that they did something similar. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but they did. Actually, this is Verena. She's the head of Dream Lab at Luma AI, which is another interesting studio in LA that's hiring and doing really cool stuff. But this was back when she was just a creator in our community, and she and her friends made this film. Anyway, it's like 4 minutes long, but it's the same idea that they're like, all right, how do I tell a story within these confines? And they adapted to it. And if anything, they found something more interesting of like, how do you, I don't know, imagine somebody made out of garbage. So I'm just showing you the history. We're doing a little history lesson right now. As things evolved, this is just funny, but this is VO 3, VO 2 had just come out, which is when Google was really starting to show off. But you can see that this was kind of the turning point. Goes on for a little while. It's pretty funny. The link's in the deck. You guys should watch it. I also think it's interesting to show you, like, this was kind of one of the first like comedy moments, like in almost like a traditional like writing, normal TV show way. But you can still see the edges. Like she changes over and over, even in this like at that time, and still pretty high quality like world. And those are parking lots that look not like animations. Like it still can't do that basic thing that I hired an actor for my movie, and why does their face keep changing? So we're still on that edge of why is this useful? Like, why does anybody need this stuff? But this was a bit of a moment. So this is sort of like the techniques we're going to learn today of how we start seeing where is this space adapted to these problems. Like, okay, we have all these amazing capabilities, but we just kind of want to tell stories with characters in them. The Midjourney, we're going to learn a very simple solution they added that's called the OmniRef. Does anybody know what LoRa's are? Have you guys heard that term? Okay, so LoRa's are a very, very valuable thing to understand. You will choose to use them as we learn this. And this is where, in the end, there is no yet, this is the way to do it. And you guys are going to start to adapt to that sort of gray area here, that at some point that's either very frustrating to you, or you're going to start to think about how do these things work together to get your desired results. And there's even more advanced techniques, as you can imagine. The premise of a LoRa, and actually, sorry, the great Nano Banana Pro is our friend here. And that's another way of saying a multimodal image model. And if you guys remember from week 1, multimodal, what does that mean? Does anybody remember what that means? Every now and then I ask you guys questions. Anish, what do you?
Even just like the different ways of like interacting, like it's like voice or typing.
It means that the model understands images, sounds. It does what humans do with their ears and eyes, that its information isn't just tokens and text. So that means that when you're interacting with Nano Banana and I really want Anish to be in this other shot of him rowing a boat, I don't have to create a coded prompt to describe Anish. I'm just going to show it a picture of Anish, and it will put Anish in that boat. We'll see that even that has edges, and there's a reason why this stuff works really well in like 5-second short films on social media versus a 2-hour film. But that basic capability is what a multimodal image model. There's other kind of references. People call it different things, but that's what it's doing. So let's talk about a LoRa for a second. So LoRa is another acronym. It is a low rank adaptation. What does that mean? So what it means is that like at some point we're training these models. You've heard that term over and over. So when I want to get Samuel in my movie, or I want Brad to be in my movie, we could try this LoRa technique. There's this thing that Midjourney did, but then there's this thing called the LoRa where I need to train it. And instead of training the whole model, which is a big giant thing that takes forever, I'm going to train it on this little sliver. I'm going to say, this is Anish, this is Charles, this is Samuel. I'm going to give it the information to create that information, right? So how does that work? And this is a technique that we're going to bring into free pick. On some level, for the people that are not bashful or shy about this stuff, you can now put yourself in movies without having to step in front of a camera. You can take a bunch of pictures of yourself And then all of those different angles, like close-ups, wide shots, angry face, sad face, happy face, over the shoulder shot, close-up, medium shot, all those fun things that the world has of you when people recognize, you will now capture those. Some people do hundreds of these pictures. Some of these models will get excited and tell you that they only need 3. Some of them will say they only need 1. On some level, there's a good basic math of like 15 to 20, and we'll see how that fits inside of a tool. But what you're doing is you're giving it information of you. Okay, let's say that sounds terrifying, and why would you ever upload yourself to the internet? You can then create a character. That's like option 2 here. So, and as we work with tools like Nano Banana Pro, where I can say, here's a picture of Steven, and give me a left side angle, give me a high angle shot, give me like a cinematic grid of multiple angles. It's doing that same work for you. And we're gonna learn how that works too. But it's another way of saying that you can do that with generated characters. And again, you're just giving it the data of who is this person? What do they look like? What does their body look like? And then there's this other technique that if as you wanna play with LoRa's, you can also like create like almost like a turntable of yourself and make a video of your character or yourself that spins. And then you can export all the PNG files of that video, and those are basically the pictures. So there's a few different ways to tell the computer this is what this person looks like. And then all of those things go inside of this LoRa training tool that we're going to learn how it works. But that's how a LoRa works, okay? So for example, this is my friend Brian Wonkum, who was part of that garbage person team. He's now heading up the AI effort at Blumhouse. So jobs exist. I'm just going to keep nudging that out there to everybody if that's a thing to notice. So he's got a really cool job at Blumhouse now. But we were doing this around last year at a Gen Jam where he tested this out himself. That's his still photo. That's like his LinkedIn picture, to be honest. Like he just has that picture up there, or it used to be. He created this 360 video, a 180 animation of himself using the Luma tool, where I can just sort of put 2 different keyframes and it can just create that idea of what he looks like. And then it created you can sort of see this, what you might call a character sheet of multiple angles of his face. Now the computer knows what he looks like from all of those angles. And then when he wants to do something silly like this, he can, because he can just turn himself into many different duplicate versions, and that starts to turn his ability to put himself into a generative world, right? This is the Mid-Journey version. I'm putting that screen, that's just the screen grab in the deck. But let's take a look at how this works. You guys get to watch me log in. It's your favorite thing that we do in this class. It's watching me log into things. Mid-Journey, does everybody know what Mid-Journey is? What is it? What's Mid-Journey? I can't hear you. Go ahead.
Image generator, then there's more like online instead of like installed on your.
Sorry, this is making me do a puzzle. Fuck. Wait, I don't know. Where does the puzzle go? Can you guys help me with this puzzle?
Well, I took it off the screen and put it back. You guys can watch Fred do the puzzle.
Are you kidding me? Is that there? Really? We're doing this right now? Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And now we get to watch Fred type in confirmation codes. That's the best. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'll do this in advance next time. I was at date night last night. Sorry, my wife and I need to stay married. Okay, here we go. We're logged in now. And so that is a version of logging into Midjourney. You can either use your Discord if you use things like that, or your email. So this is Midjourney. We are not going to brush over this. Next week, we're doing world building, where we're going to spend a lot more time with this. Midjourney is also being sued by a lot of people, and that might be things you guys have feelings about. I'm just going to introduce it to you guys as still relevant, because it still has a very unique position in the image generation space and in how it focuses on aesthetics. They also got a big deal with Meta, which probably is how they're going to pay off all those lawsuits. So again, drink in the financial news cycle as much as you want. So what we do in Midjourney, for the longest time, Midjourney would just create all these beautiful images, and you would have to do these like really like brute force, like character reference, set it to this rating and like do it. You just have to almost brute force your way to get something resembling a consistent character. What they did to resolve that is I can just grab a file like this, and we'll learn what this looks like next week. But you see all those different ideas that come up: starting frame, image prompt, all this. One of them is called omnireference, right? You see that? Everybody can see that? So omnireference comes up, and now that is Midjourney's contribution to wanting you to have consistent characters. For what it's worth, there is a slider on it, and you can ultimately just run results until you got something you're happy with. But now that is my reference for my pig face person, I can say pig face man on a trampoline. Let's see. I don't know. It might not work. Let's see what happens. And then it generates. And then in principle, this is a way to start getting consistent repetition of a character that you spend a lot of time creating. What you're watching here as we're learning about all this stuff, this is a diffusion model. What is a diffusion model? Does anybody know what that is?
I might not be accurate, but it's like the generation process. It comes from like getting the pixels like through the diffusion and clearer instead of like doing one pixel after another.
Yeah. So what we're in this place that there's autoregressive technologies. Again, if anybody wants to go back and rewatch that video from week 1 where that guy sort of walked through all the innovations from last year. Autoregressive is predictive. That means it's like guessing the next thing. Am I on the right internet here? USC guest?
You can get on secure now, but guest is good enough for the moment.
All right, because it's not working. So it's not that good.
Huh. Yeah, I guess I'd get on secure then.
Get on which one?
Secure.
What's that mean?
The other. USC secure.
Okay. Is there a password?
It's just your USC pass.
Okay, so there it is. So there's my pig man, and he's on a trampoline this time. Basic function. You'll even see that in the diffusion model. So what diffusion models do is that they basically initially start with a cloud, and then the algorithm just starts throwing it data until its understanding of your prompt creates a hyper sharp, beautiful image of that. But the problem is that it's almost like a slot machine each time. So that's what diffusion models do on a really basic level. We can go deeper on the technology, but what you just watched, that kind of cloudy thing, anytime you see that in a generative process, that you're watching a diffusion model, that in some ways they're taking fog and making it sharp, if you can understand that. Like, it's not like I'm calling a picture of a cat from the internet. It's taking my memory of what cats look like and that my user told me it wants a cat. I'm going to throw a big cloud of fog and I'm going to keep refining that until it looks like what I think that the user wants. And that's what a diffusion model does. But this is Midjourney's efforts to give you a consistent character. So as you guys choose which models you're using and tools you're using, that's one setting for you to create a consistent character. That's one way to start building your keyframes. That's one place to start building your assets. Inside of Nana Banana Pro. Okay, so did everybody get that thing that I sent you that you get free Gemini Pro as just students in America? Did you guys get that? Okay. It was on WhatsApp. I dropped it in there. Yeah.
I think I'm verified. I don't know.
It's your USC email. I don't know what to do about this, Brad or Habib. A lot of the free stuff is getting blocked by USC's email.
Yeah, but I tried it with my personal email. It all still got blocked.
Oh, really? There might have also been a cutoff. Well, Nana Banana is everywhere. Did everybody get my note that we should be signing up for free pick for at least a month? Okay, so in free pick, which we're going to start using now, we will learn how Nana Banana works. Once the Ultra plan comes through, you guys will have access to Gemini, and that is the other LLM. It's an alternative to ChatGPT. We can show it to you now, but it's the same idea in terms of how to use Nana Banana. So we're going to go to image generator here. So once you log in, get to watch Fred sign into stuff. Once we log in, again, I'm just going to say it because I'm worried about you guys. Do not ever sign up for annuals, right? We got that memo? And then also make sure you're starting to notice the way credits get used. If you get all excited about VO3 today, if you just go home and use VO3 on free pick, you will burn through your free pick account for the month and you'll be asked to spend more money. So I will show you other things you can do with free pick. Wait till hopefully next week when you will have unlimited credits to use VO3 on another system. So inside of free pick, and we're going to spend more time next week as we do world building, but the basic functionality, which is something I try to screen grab when I set these up. We go to image generator. And then as you get used to these tools, this is an aggregator, right? This is a tool that does many things. When I select the model pull down menu, I open this up and there's a bunch of models here. For the really curious people, go nuts. Stay up too late, and you guys don't have kids like me. Like, do whatever you want. There's a lot to learn here and just experience from the inside. What I'm at least going to point you to is starting to see these ones that are getting like extra stars. These are kind of the 3 stars of the moment. These are the 3 multimodal image models, to go back to what we just learned before. These are kind of the primary ones. Google Nano Banana Pro is the one that we will have kind of unlimited access to. In free pick, you get a bunch of it. Images don't burn through credits the way video does, just as you start to really understand the gas in your tank here. But you would select Google Nano Banana Pro. For people that like doing adult themed content, and I'm not talking about erotic content, I'm talking about horror movies or things that might involve children, you know, in scenes that have nothing to do with uncomfortable stuff, but there's children in them. Nano Banana Pro is usually going to censor that stuff. And you'll start to be frustrated by ideas you have, and that they're very like conservative. As you adapt to your choices here, Sea Dream is pretty similar. I think arguably not as good because it doesn't have all the features Nano Banana Pro does, but that's the one that if you're getting stuck on censorship, Sea Dream and Flux 2 Pro are 2 comparable tools to do the same thing, and they're less fussy. But we're going to select a model, and then here I can describe that image. So again, go back to my deck. We're going to create a character, and effectively we're going to create a character sheet. Okay, so this is another way of thinking that what you're doing is you're starting to build assets. Like, it's almost like you cast your actor, and then now you have that headshot in your writer's room, so that every time your writers are thinking about, all right, what scene should we put that person into, they're just looking at that headshot. This convention of a character sheet is one way to do this. I could just throw my pig face guy into here, let's grab pig face guy. Let's organize it. Let's grab him. Copy, save image. Stuff. Big face dude. Okay, and then in free pick, I can upload. So now that I have that file, right? I'm in Nano Banana Pro, and I'm going to upload media. Where's pig face dude? Here he is. Okay. He's in there. I'm accepting all the cookies, and then went away. Adding media. Okay, now it's a reference. Okay, so as we get used to this whole interface, ignore all the marketing over here. This is where the work is happening. Okay, there's the model we chose. As you start to get used to this interface, you're going to be able to learn how to almost reference a style choice that you made. We don't have to worry about that yet. There's this whole business that we're going to learn about how creating a character. That's the Laura business that we're about to learn. But this is the Nano Banana Pro option, where I can load up an image here as a reference. And then as you're working with Nano Banana Pro, you'll learn that actually you could load up to 14 references right now. And if you really want to spend time on how the advertising world is going nuts with this, like, I can have a picture of him, I can have a picture of stiletto heels, I can have a picture of like a leopard print bikini, and I can have a picture of like a pink convertible, and I can just throw all these almost like assets of my prop department, and it can go up to 14 different like references, and it'll just make an image. Okay, so that's the power of Nano Banana Pro. That's its multimodal capability, because it understands where stiletto heels go. It understands what cars do with humans inside of them. So that's kind of what you're starting to scratch at by seeing that upload reference there. And again, this is an interface that's using the API of Google Nano Banana Pro. It's like, that's the gas, the electricity in this tank. We can also use this in a different interface like Flow and Gemini, which we're eventually going to use. So I'm just starting to show you that this is a pattern that repeats elsewhere. So I can then say, I'm referencing that, give me a character sheet of this pig character. I need a close-up and a full body shot, and I want it to be photorealistic. So we generate, and it takes a minute, and then I can show you, here I was prepping for you guys. This is like an example of a character sheet from a previous. So like I had a corgi dog that I was putting into a piece. So I said, give me a character sheet of this corgi dog. So then the next time I want to put that corgi dog in a scene, this is my reference, not just that shot of my pig face dude. I'm going to get even better results as I'm informing that process. So like as I start to design scene works, as we start to do world building next week, and I have like scene on the sand dunes as the couple says I do, I would have a character sheet of my groom, out of a character sheet of my bride. I'll have a reference of that location of what the sand dunes at sunset look like. I might even have some, weird like chariot horse in the background. All of those become references that then come together on the scene that I'm building. So that's the world building exercise. For characters, this is one output here. So let's see. You can see that there is a sort of a grab your coffee as these things are happening effect. Almost there. It's even making me feel like just be patient. Final touches. Okay, and there's my character sheet for my pig. Okay, you can even see that it's like offering information. Again, it's not going to like put those words in the image next time, because Nano Banana Pro is like a reasoning model on top of being a multimodal. It takes that as information so it understands what you want. So this is sort of the best practices on how to use Nano Banana Pro as your tool for character consistency. So where we use that Omni reference tool in Midjourney, that it just sort of referenced another image and just put it into a world again at its best. This is a different way to reach that level of precision. Questions so far? Yeah.
Why can't you just do that directly in Gemini?
You can. That's what I was saying before. I'll show you. And I'm just showing you that while you guys only have free pick today, this is the place to do it. But that's why I asked if anybody got the free Gemini, because then I'll show you what it looks like in Gemini. I even think I have the pig in there. Yeah, there he is. So literally the exact same thing. There's the pig dude, right? Make me a character sheet. And you'll see that the first time he did it, it gave me this weird, like a kind of illustrated thing. So again, these things aren't perfect. And it's also practicing your own, remember, context engineering. How are we always giving it context of what we need? So even in the way you talk, like be specific. And then I said, give it to me photorealistic. And then this actually gave me an even more interesting character sheet. It's giving me details of like what his hands look like holding playing cards. So there's a lot of information there that if that's where my scene wants to go, I'm really loading it up. But and then for this exercise, I then said, actually just give me a clean character sheet of the character. So the answer is yes. Yeah. And again, this is an API. This is electricity and gas that runs in many different places. In this, by the way, I prefer this interface. It's much cleaner. And here, the only choice I have is Nano Banana Pro. In free pick, as I showed you, if you guys get frustrated with the censorship issues, that's where you're going to go to get a little bit naughty, if you want to do some horror movies and stuff. Does that make sense to everybody, the notion of the censorship piece? Yeah? Cool. Is anybody making horror movies in this class? Is that like a fun thing that people do? Yeah? Okay, so you're probably going to hit a ceiling on Nano Banana Pro, and you may start to find solutions with Seedream and Flux. Yeah? Questions so far? So that's the basic notion of character consistency. These are major advances. 12 months ago, we were looking at that Terminator 2 and that Karen movie and feeling pretty good about ourselves. That like, hey, we're making movies, but nobody's going to watch these things because the character keeps changing. Now you're given ways to start to turn those screws. Yeah? We're at 10 o'clock. I can move on to the next subject. Does anybody really need to go to the bathroom, or should we keep going? Yeah? Feel good? You're good? Everybody good? Lauren, we're good? Yeah, cool.
Break at 10:30.
Great. The rule is I do whatever Brooks tells me to do, if anybody's ever wondering. All right, so has anybody ever heard of this movie, The Jazz Singer? Yeah, okay, so in the old school movie history side of being at a film school, this was a big deal, right? All right, so in the world of people being excited to go into things called theaters and watching things called movies, two moments blew people's minds. The moment he started doing a thing that looked like singing, an actual synced voice that was the actual sound of him singing in that room, was a big deal. And then this moment where he then just started talking and having like not even the performance of like a perhaps pre-recorded song, this was the big deal. So I say all this because I think it's fun to say we've been here before. That sort of thing that was hard to do found its moment of execution. That's the other component. We've been talking a lot about character consistency, the idea of taking this sort of super janky looking like Will Smith spaghetti stuff and starting for it to like come to life. And again, allowing us to cross that uncanny valley, that now I'm watching this and I'm not feeling a distance of like, that's obviously fake. I'm like, something's happening to me and that's either interesting or uncomfortable. So that big turning point was roughly April last year. And we're gonna watch Fred log in. God damn it, I'm sorry guys. I gotta do this more consistently. Okay. And I think I just have to click it one more time. So VO3, right? Yeah, I think you get the gist. This is promptable audio. I'm literally just prompting guy in a musical screams that I can talk in a musical. And then it's just guessing what song that is. Like nobody uploaded the notes to that song. So then this is where, as filmmakers, you're like, wait, what can I really do with this? Like, it's just making decisions for me. It's choosing the voice. Like maybe I wanted a gravelly voice. Like I'm stuck with whatever choice I made. So what you are seeing is this is what is capable. This is what's possible. This is where we're either headed or you have to work with right now, which is that something that real, that lip synced, and then start to take in the rest of it. The sound of the room, the sound of that person's ethnicity and the way they tend to have a certain, you know, way that their stomach makes air coming out of their, I'm just saying like the things we take for granted of what we all sound like. I'm very nasal. You look at me and I'm going to sound a way that I sound. It's guessing all that stuff. You know, you're in a comedy club and it's guessing what is the pause between the joke and the laugh. It's guessing like what's the sort of comic timing. It's got now we're past multimodal understanding. It's not just hearing things and seeing things. It understands humanity in a really possibly disturbing way. But that's what it's allowing you to prompt. Yeah. So that's what VO3 blew everybody's socks off. This is a really good person to follow. Again, every time I drop people in here, I encourage you to just click follow. I try to curate things that I would encourage you. Ari Kushner runs a pretty major agency out of New York called Missing Pieces. He's very much become a real like frontline kind of thought leader in the space. Does amazing talks. Also like kind of very, he loves doing political stuff. Again, I'm not here to introduce politics, but he very famously made this. Sorry, I don't mean to show you Donald Trump stuff. This went really viral. It's ayahuasca. It's him on ayahuasca. It's really ridiculous. And you can also see like, where is he tracking this space? I mean, what is this? This is August 24, pre-VO3. So he wasn't lip syncing. He wasn't prompting that, but he had mastered character consistency. And he's just voiceovering, which is very available. All of us can just make voiceover driven, you know, Terrence Malick movies. That's all available, but you're going to see that we're getting into lip sync, and that's what the other video I showed you is showing off. And this is a little bit of like the other type of stuff that once this came out, everybody starts going nuts, like showing you what's possible. So this is that comedy thing I was telling you about. Supposedly the internet works. I don't know what's going on. I guess I'll log in. Maybe that's the difference. But I don't know why that would affect the video.
We didn't do like a 10-minute login session.
I know, there's too many links. I'm actually really excited that I can remember all these passwords.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, so again, who cares what they're saying, but just notice the execution. It gets the sound of that street. It gets the sound, the environment of that comedy club. Like that's where the technology is showing its capabilities. What we're still on the wrong side of is being able to really control it. Beyond the stuff that you know to do, sound design, and you can always do stuff in post, this is doing it at prompt. And you can also even see in her, there is the thing that I notice is that there's this like AI people are really eyes wide open and talking like this all the time. Like it's really good at being peaked. Like the nuances of performance is where we're starting to really test, like, can it really do what we like actors to do? Anyway, I'm just showing you where the technology is. So, and then Kling 2.6 came out in December. That's like their most recent model. We're not going to watch this video because it's really how-to, but you guys should watch it, and we're going to learn a little bit about it now. But Kling 2.6, what they added is, to me, kind of the missing link. And this is where I hope you guys can keep up, where what I just said to you about VO3, that I can't choose my voice. In theory, Kling is showing us what that could look like. So when I go to Kling, again, this is another subscription. I'm not telling you guys to subscribe to all these, but it is an option in case you suddenly love this, and then talk to me about how you're spending your money. But when I go to video, one of the choices here, and we're going to learn more about video generation, but I'm just showing you, you see this select voice? This is what VO3 doesn't have currently. And again, I would be shocked if in the time that we're here in the next 3 months, this doesn't show up on VO3. It might even be what that pre-testing thing that we're all getting invited to might be pointing at. But the point is that it is giving me a chance to select voices. Now within free pick, which does do this too, and try to keep up with me. I know this is confusing, but I'm just pointing at it and we can always revisit. Within free pick, which again is an aggregator that gives me access to everything. If I choose Kling 2.6 here, again, I'm choosing all the models. I'm going to choose I'm showing you an apples with apples here. Okay. What does apples with apples mean? Does everybody know what that expression means? It's like compare and contrast. It's the same thing. Kling 2.6, same model. Same model as what's over here. This is the Kling website. Okay. On the Kling website, I select voice and it brings me here, and it has these preset voices. Whoever William is, Laura, Catherine, these are just pre-existing random voices that maybe you like. I don't know, maybe you're excited about those 4 people, but they're giving me a chance to create a new voice. We're going to come back to this in a minute. I'm just starting to connect the dots for you guys. Create new voice means that I can upload audio, which could be my voice. They're saying 5 to 30 seconds, or, and we're about to learn 11 Labs, you can create a voice. And then now you are, as a director, making choices. I'm choosing this voice for my character that's in my video generation. That is what Kling 2.6 added to the equation that currently VO doesn't have. Okay, VO has that really awesome execution, but there's no choice. Here you have pretty comparable technology, but I have a choice. Interestingly, this feature of you getting to create your own choice is currently only available on the Kling website. In free pick, which does give you access to Kling 2.6, which does let me select voice. See that? And again, we're recording this class, so if anybody is like, I go back to it, there's always a recording. When I go to select voice, I just have a bunch of pre-selected voices, which is a lot. I don't know, maybe it's exciting to choose from all these voices, and that's what free pick's trying to do. They're trying to make things slippery and easy for you, but they are not letting me choose. So I'm highlighting this stuff because as directors in a directing with it, I really want you guys to always think about where you are truly, where are the edges where you get to direct, right? And this is currently limited on that front. So that's what Kling 2.6 added to the equation. That in some ways, those are the 2 front lines of that highest quality video generation married to some version of a realistic voice coming out of somebody's mouth. And we can watch examples, but we're high level right now. Okay, so that's really the bleeding edge of what's possible and where obviously everything's headed. Everybody wants what VO 3.1. Everybody wants to be able to direct in that space. Like, let's just know that that's where we're headed. In the meantime, it's helpful to understand your choices as directors and how you can hack this stuff and make it work for you. So has everybody heard of 11 Labs? Has anybody not heard of 11 Labs? Let's start there. You're allowed to raise your hands to identify that. 1 person, 2 person. Okay. 11 Labs. 11 Labs, and I'm trying to get us some freebies here, but I would encourage you guys, while you're listening to ramble on, I would go ahead and log in and create at least a free account. And then your free account is going to let you do most of the things we're asking to do for homework. I'm working with my contact there to see if we can get a little bit more advanced usage. 11 Labs is a lot of things. To their credit, they are jumping into the image and video space, and I'll point to it. The reason they're meaningful is because they are kind of the generative audio tool. I mean, there's other ones, and Google's kind of building its own solution. But when you go into 11 Labs, there's 2 main modalities. You guys see these 2 buttons here on the top left? Okay, if you are in the business of creating a conversational bot for your therapist guru and you want to go make a bunch of money like Tony Robbins and have people talk to a robot and talk to a voice, you would use this agents platform. Okay, and that's and as we get into this notion of creating characters and lip sync, we are very close to the world of avatars, and we're going to sort of touch on that edge, and I'm going to point at it, but you'll see that as directors, there's limits there. But this is the technology for people that want to go make a bunch of money creating fake humans and sell products and do all kinds of fun stuff. That's what agents are, and that's the way they create knowledge bases, and you do the same idea of adding a voice with a face and have it talk. We're not doing that. I'm just showing you that it's here. We're using the creative platform. Here in the creative platform, there are some core modalities. For starters, if anybody's ever worked in the voiceover business or has ever hired a voiceover artist, the websites look like this. I'm getting to sample them, and there's all these people that I get to choose from, and then I hire them to go into their studio and record their voices and send me the files. As I understand it, a lot of those people are licensing their voices to this. 11 Labs is a very above board business in the landscape of everybody being anxious about licensing and stealing people. Like their business is very much built on licensing. For what it's worth, Michael Caine, if anybody remembers him from Batman, he's licensed his voice. Matthew McConaughey has licensed his voice. Maya Angelou and other interesting sort of famous people, whether living or dead, or their estates are cashing in on their valuable voices. There's also a bunch of people you've never heard of, like Elise and Henry and all these other people. The point is this is step one, is to choose your voice. Okay, and again, I'm trying to get you guys to get that director hat on. Don't just default to whatever the robot's offering you. If you want optionality, 11 Labs is currently one of the places that there's the most for you to work with in a consumer way. You can also create your voice. See this big blue button here on the top right? Yeah, everybody see that? Okay, so this, before you just start choosing from their catalog, again, as a director, and I'm just going to keep nudging you guys. I don't want you ever to feel subject to this process. I'm trying to show you the entries of where you guys get to say, I'd rather do this. You can create a voice, and this is sort of the way they give you choices. You can design a voice by prompting it. Play with that, see what that does for you. I mean, we're not going to do all these things. I'm just showing you where you guys get to play. So you can just say, I want a gravelly Southern person, or I don't know, some high-pitched nasal person. I don't know. You can do that. You could apparently use the second option, and you can see that that takes less than a minute. This takes 2 minutes to do, where you just have 10 seconds of audio, and you just like say something, or you just pull some actor's voice and say, hey, I want to use your voice. That's the quick version. As you can imagine, as you go down this ladder, things become higher quality and more useful, and your ability to interrogate how good they are get better as you spend more time. This professional voice phone is their version of really leaning in, and you're going to actually give it 30 minutes of audio. Okay, put your shady person hat on. This is, you would rip a YouTube video and just grab somebody's voice and clone them. And there's going to be steps as you do this stuff that they ask you, do you have permission to do this? Like, they actually try to create walls. They probably even try to detect those things. But if you are not a shady person, you might ask your actor to deliver a scene from a thing they worked on, and now you have their voice to work with, and you can license them, you can pay them, you can do whatever you want. But this is sort of the way that you can create your own voice, okay? So remember when we went back to that thing in Kling where it said, I can add my voice, that this is the type of thing that you've now really made a lot of choices. You've created your own voice, and that becomes a voice clone that then gets pulled into their utility. Does that make sense to everybody? That's something that I'm gonna encourage you guys to play with. You could also just default to like picking Henry and just do him, or whatever the voice is in there. That is, I'm not even gonna call that lazy. That's kind of the tool they've built for you. But I'm showing you that if you're someone that really cares, you've got room to care, right? And there's also this thing that I actually haven't played with, this idea of voice remixing that I guess you get to play with and like mash up voices and sort of, remix and say, I want that to be a little bit extra gravelly. So these are the ways that they're working with you to create a director position. So once you've created your voice, once you've selected your voice, now you're in the core utility of the tool. You'll see that this is a kind of an interesting post-production tool. There's this, before we get into those things, there's like voice isolator, which is basically what it sounds like. Like if you have like somebody talking on the streets of New York that's super noisy, like that's a tool you would use to pull out the stem of their dialogue. So there's just basic post-production tools here. That there's other versions of that all over the space, but I'm saying this is where they are a specialized audio and dialogue tool. There's text-to-speech, okay? Text-to-speech is exactly what it sounds like. I'm droning on and on about how interesting robots are. Okay, so that's my dictation tool. You guys are welcome to spend $12 a month and add WhisperFlow to your life. It's a big part of my life, but that's why I'm not typing for you guys today. But I just added some text. You would type that on your side. And then here I get to choose my voice. If I created one, I would add her to my voice choice here. I'm going to really just jump ahead. You can see that V2 is the default here, and which is their voice model. There's all these sliders, and I don't know, I think they work. I just would just re-roll it until you like something. But I would just say skip it and go to V3. Okay, so you see how that's a choice, and they get me excited about why I made a good choice. You'll start noticing that here you can direct. And again, I'm pointing you towards things that come back to the label of this course. I can do this. Takes a breath and laughs to himself. Okay, so you see how I put that in parentheses? So I'm directing my text right now. And then now I currently have Liam, who's the choice, who's apparently a social media creator. I generate speech. And let's see if it works. Okay. So you can sort of see that the first time he got it, that he took a breath because I prompted that. Sometimes it doesn't work. You kind of just need to re-roll these things. But you can see that actually sounded pretty good. It's like, and V3 actually has come a long way. V2 is a little bit robotic sounding. So I'm saying if you want to listen to it, you can. But this is, if you really just want to speed run your process, you don't have time to like record things, you just want to temp it, this is actually really good to go ahead and start getting some pretty human sounding dialogue and voiceover. So that's option one. Right? And that's how I can then, if I like that soundbite, everybody's seen this little arrow with a box. See that? Download as an asset, start to organize your life, create folders, be good producers that know how to not lose things. That might even be a way to bring back your Figma board. If you guys remember that from last week, that might be a setting or some combination of project management tools. We can lean into nerdy things like project management, but I'm hoping you guys are organized adults. But you would download that and put that in a folder because we're going to use it later. The other option is voice changer, okay? This is gonna really connect with our other tools later. So what is this? This means that, think of this again as a multimodal technology. What we just saw was the text version. It took words and its understanding of those words and made them sound like something. This is gonna listen to me because I'm gonna record my voice, or it can listen to audio that I upload to it. So let's start with the listen to me option. So I'm in record audio, and I'm just using the mic on my laptop. And again, the mic on your phones is really good. I mean, I defer to people that are really down with sound to tell me that that's wrong. But in terms of just getting stuff done, your phone's really good. Your laptop's pretty good to at least experiment. I am still droning on about robots. Why am I still talking about this? Okay, so I did that in a silly way because I want you to see that it's going to keep up with my performance. So I just gave it some data, which is the sound of my voice, not text, not tokens, human sounds. I'm generating speech. I'm still using Liam. Okay, so to me, director hat, we like to work with actors. Your Andy Serkis character can now be every gender, every age, every type of thing that you want to put in your whole movie. You could, if you have like that one amazing person that could just play any role, you can do an ensemble cast with them, because now their ability to perform and shift into their ability to emote, you can apply that to multiple voices and you can build a whole ensemble cast this way. So this is thing to note one, which is this is how you can insert yourself or your actor into the process. By using their performance as something to bring into the model. Additionally, and this is what we're about to see, we can also upload a file. Okay, so I can take a temp performance that I recorded on set, that may be my table read, where I gathered all my actors, but now I need to sort of convert them all into like fuzzy wuzzy Muppets or whatever it is that my movie is gonna be. I can take that audio and upload it. So you can see the other thing I can do here is inside Voice Changer, I have the option to click to upload or drag and drop. So this is a super powerful partner to your directing and performance instincts, because now we can start to bring in human performance into choices we can convert, transform, and make whatever we want. For what it's worth, just to understand 11 Labs, we're going to come back to this when we do post-production. You can prompt sound effects here. So I can say like, make a chimpanzee laugh, and it'll just make that sound. You don't have to go look for that library. You can also make music here. They do have a music tool. I don't think it's as good as Suno, but the nice thing is it's fully licensed. I think Suno has corrected their position too, but these are just, I'm just showing you all the other stuff. And then they do have this image and video. They are kind of, I don't know, for whatever reason, they're jumping in to compete with everybody, but they do have access to a lot of the same things that we're seeing in FreePick. You would have to have a separate subscription. The thing that we're going to come back to a little bit later is they do have this kind of pretty nice, I think their UI is pretty good, their user interface. So for what it's worth, they do have one way to think about lip sync here that you guys might like. So I just want you guys to be aware of it, but we're going to come back to that. Okay, so questions so far as we're thinking about generative audio. This is I'm in the deck that you guys should all have bookmarked. I'm trying to repeat stuff here, and there's always the recording. Here's text to speech, as well as voice changer. I'm going to move into another tool in a second, but how are we doing so far? Yeah. Okay, so I'm literally getting a text from this guy while we're here. He thought I would be loaded up to give you guys free credit. So this to me, it's interesting. I'm actually surprised there's not more noise about this company. This is a company called sync.so. All right. So once this guy sends me the right credits, I'm going to let you guys play with it. And this is a really specialized choice. You guys might be very comfortable with the options I already showed you. But for really leaning into control, this is, to me, the most advanced choice there is. Let me see if it really is. Oh, yeah, he did update it. Okay, so supposedly we're good. Oh, he claims that you loaded up with credits. So we're going to create a project. Mustache Man. See, maybe I'm supposed to choose this. No, it's personal. Okay. All right. So this is a different headspace. Okay. What this asks you to do is it asks you to pre-generate a video, and you'll see that this has no audio. Okay, so it's a bit of an unusual thing, but you'll see why this is worth paying attention to. So if you can take us to where we're going, you're going to create your character image in Nana Banana or Midjourney or wherever you created it, and you will then take it into the video generator and just give it a prompt of like, he moves his mouth excitedly. He thinks it's really funny. Like, you're going to prompt him to mime. Okay, it's really strange. I don't know if this technology really makes it long term, but while we're in this place that we want control, I want you guys to be aware of it. So you then bring this asset in of this effect, right? And then it asks you to upload audio. Okay, so I pre-did this for you guys. So I have a byte of this. Okay, so I don't know why I wrote that, but I did. So I'm going to try to marry those two things. I spent some time in 11 Labs. I chose a character I liked. I wanted that gravelly Southern voice, and I wrote some stupid piece of dialogue from some strange movie, and I'm happy with that performance. I might have even performed it myself. So again, take us to where this is your process. So now I have two things. I have two elements. I don't have that VO 3.1 thing that it just did it, okay, that it just made it for me. This time I'm actually in complete control. I've created a character, I've given him a setting, I've put him in a scene, and now I have my performance that I've created. So it's a kind of a backwards way to think about how a movie gets made. But I'm, in theory, now able to sync these two things. Okay, so let's see if it actually works, because last time it wasn't working. Okay, it is working. So that's going to be working in the background. What I want to show you is interesting about this is here, as you guys eventually get access to this, like anything, there's, where are we going? There's multiple models to choose from. Come on, maybe I have to open another window. Right. Is it just pinwheeling? All right, we might have to wait for it. So there's multiple models to choose from. The thing that I'm going to, oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so there's multiple models to choose from. There is like a user guide, and I can just link it to you, and you guys can obsess over it. At some point, you're just going to roll. I think they might give you a bunch of credits, and you get to play with it. Obviously, just use the best one. It's just that it might take more time. So if you want like quick results, try these other ones. The thing that's pretty clever that I think really shows you, wow, that's a lot of control, is this one called React. Okay, can you guys see that? Let's see how we did here. All right, so pretty good. I mean, I would argue that we're in a problem that it doesn't sound like the Bayou, that doesn't sound like an outdoor setting, but those are things that we would then add sound design and mixing to. But in terms of just mirroring the sound of a voice coming out of a mouth, this is among the more advanced, really hyper-controlled settings for you. But in addition, I want you guys to see this React option. So this is pretty cutting edge stuff. And it's really for people that obsess over the performance here. And again, you might just at some point just be okay with what comes out of it, but they're offering you a few different ideas. You see this little like masks of tragedy and comedy emoji. I can click on that and I can actually say, I need an emotion here. So it's giving me a little pinwheel of choosing. I actually, even though my keyframe is this like eyes wide open thing, I need him to get angry. Okay, so they're starting to give me that option to start really playing with his expression. And then the other thing they're giving me when I hit the gears tool here is now I can start to mess with his face. Okay, so I can play with his forehead, I can play with his face, and I can play with his lips. I'll be honest, I kind of struggle. It's not totally intuitive to me, but you can see that the slider they're giving you is this thing called temperature. For anybody that's like nerded out on like playgrounds for ChatGPT, temperature is another way of kind of talking about creativity or intensity of the imagination effects of the model. So it's kind of a term, temperature. It has nothing to do with heat. It has nothing to do with cold or colors or anything. It's a way of saying how dialed in is the tool, right? So I'm getting you guys access to this tool, but you can sort of see the basic functionality that I gave it that miming video so that it has data of what does this person look like when their mouth is moving. And then I can marry the audio to it. And then it gives me pretty good lip sync. But for again, this might be more than some of you want, but for anybody that's really leaning into performance and control, this is as advanced as it gets right now. Okay, let's see where we are. So all this stuff's in the deck, and I'm sort of rehashing these things here. We're right at 10:30. Should we pause?
Yeah, I mean,
Because my hope is that we can get through all this stuff, and then we get to play with this stuff today. So I'm trying to like see if we at least get an hour, because then your homework's going to be to make one of these scenes. Any questions so far? Any things that we're like not totally understanding? Anything uncomfortable? Or I don't know, Steven in the back, or yeah, Steven.
I'm curious, like in general about all this stuff. Do you think that there are like too many options in softwares and different things to do to the point that it's like almost tough to adopt?
It's interesting. Like if you guys watch I think I shared it, the Theoretically Media website, which is like a really great just weekly education site. I literally watch it in preparation for you guys. He made a video saying, hey, I've been getting a lot of subscribers this year. Everybody seems to be excited about this stuff, but everybody's like, what are you talking about? So he kind of made a video, which is saying like, look, let's do a primer. Let's kind of rewind. So I do think you guys are walking into a moment that there is a lot to absorb. That's why I'm trying to sometimes share history with you guys. I also think I keep pointing to the financial news cycle. There's no friggin' way the world needs this many redundancies in tools, and none of these tools necessarily make sense when then Google creates something that's 10 times better. So I'm showing you what's available for the act of directing right now. Like that's why I'm really, I hope I like these guys. They're really nice. They're giving me free credits for you guys. I don't know in the VC hype cycle how valuable what they do is next to what's going on at DeepMind. So on one answer to you is this is the hype cycle in action. This is when this much money is at stake. These guys on the most cynical day are looking for an exit, and they just want to sell their technology and get rich. And that's what you guys are being exposed to as users and consumers, is just how many tools are all chasing after the same opportunity of like everybody used to make movies with cameras and mics. Now we're doing it this way. Okay. So that is a overbloated, unnecessary amount of tools. I'm trying to help you navigate to which ones are worth your attention and which ones I think give you control on the things you do. But I do think when you look at VO3, that and as we work with Flow, and again, we'll see how it's advanced in the time that we're using it, you kind of don't ever need to leave. And the reason why you would be upset with it is because it's not yet at full resolution. It doesn't have those full up converted things at a big giant movie screening. So there's still limits, but in terms of being able to do all the things you want to do as a storyteller, like we're getting to a point that Adobe is creating their answer to your question. Google's creating. So the big companies that have the ability to burn through money and survive these hype cycles, they'll probably win. Or a tool company like this that's doing something really innovative and interesting might have a moment, you know?
is that the goal of the like a free pick is to like, they're basically selling you on the idea of like, okay, we're going to simplify everything into one place.
100%. And I even wonder how sustainable that business model is. And again, like Adobe's literally doing the exact same thing. Like Adobe, like this time last year, was really fighting for Firefly, which you may even have access to through university because it's sort of, it seems to be like okay and safe or something. Nobody I knew used it. Like it wasn't really a popular model. And now you go to Adobe Max this last, like a few months ago, and they've suddenly become an aggregator. And now suddenly you have access to all the models inside of their tool. They're doing the same thing as free pick with limitations. But I'm saying it's interesting to think of Adobe as like the standard bearer, as like the creative suite for most people. And even they're adopting that strategy. At some point you ask yourself, you know, what you might say, what's the moat? You know, what's the thing that protects your business, right? Or what's the defensible business position? Like why wouldn't somebody just completely gobble you up and do something better? What they're trying to sell you is user experience, right? So if you guys want just to look at free pick for a second, and I introduced this to you guys last week. I know we're going to break, but just because I just want to address this question. You know, free pick is comparable to Hicksfield, comparable to Kriya, comparable to Adobe. They're all doing the same thing. They're giving you a place that like, don't ever leave, just stay here. Like I got you. So then what's the difference, right? Marketing, you know, like the ability to have a cheaper price. Like how do you actually compete in the marketplace? So what they're trying to do is give you workflows. So when you go here to their tools, you see this thing called Assistant. Okay, when I go here, this is them starting to jump ahead of like, how do I make this easy for you, right? And Hicksfield this is one of Hicksfield's probably strongest positions. They have this whole world of presets that they're like, oh, you just want like some cool like bullet time shot, like that thing from the Matrix. Like why prompt it? We'll just give it to you. So they like orchestrate a quick prompt so that you take the exact same tool, which is Nano Banana Pro, in combination with this tool, and they just do it for you because they're trying to make it super easy. And you can imagine the social video universe of how many people are just cranking this stuff out on the internet. Like it's pumping that and it's making it very easy. But you can look here, what is FreePick's version? These are all the different workflows they're creating for you. You know, look at their featured workflows. This is one that I would take a long look at. Generate a cinematic, no, not that one, sorry. FreePick, for example, let me go back for a second. One of the things that I think is them competing, to answer your question, is this idea of variations, okay? This is just Nano Banana Pro. There's nothing special going on here. There's no high-level ownable technology in what they've done, but they've created a nice little user experience for you. And we're gonna learn about this in a couple weeks. There's this idea of creating a cinematic grid that I can take you know, any one of these pictures and I can say, give me 9 angles of that shot. Because Nano Banana Pro is like amazing. Like this was such a huge breakthrough in December that I could just say, give me 9 angles of that shot. And it'll just consistently give me a wide shot of a niche, close up of a niche, low angle worm's eye view, or it'll just do it. Okay. But when people were starting to do that, it's because somebody found that prompt on Twitter, and I'll show it to you. It's literally like this crazy ass prompt that's just like, who writes that thing? And you just cut and paste that. And it's just some weird hack to give you that effect. And they're like, well, that sounds clunky. That sounds like an annoying thing to the average consumer to know how to do that. Why don't we just create this pretty little interface? So they did this. So now I can select an image. I'll pull this from my history. Here's my weird lizard at the poker table. And now I can give it one of these. I'll say, give me a storyboard. Okay. You know, I don't know, dramatic poker scene. Okay. And then I'm going to say 3 by 3. And if this takes long and you guys got a break, it's just going to create an image for me with all 9 frames. And then I can say, okay, I want that shot. I want that shot. Up res those. And now I'm directing. We're going to learn about this in a couple weeks. This is a workflow they created. This is FreePick saying, hey, we got you guys. There's this new innovation. We're making it easy for you. And I don't know if that survives. I don't know if that's like a real defensible position, but they're trying to get market share. They're trying to get people using them and then trusting them. And I think FreePick is kind of earning that trust. Like people like them. That's why, for what it's worth, like Curious Refuge did their like, what are their favorite like main tools for people to use? And it was Flow and FreePick were their 2 choices, which is what I'm asking you guys to use, which is a decent market indicator. But let's break. I know that we went past 10:30. Brooks is mad at me. But we'll take a look at this in a second. But this is an example of a workflow that an aggregator, they're doing more than just sharing electricity with you. They're trying to make it easy for you. Cool. So we'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll come back at 10:42.
How are we doing?
Talk about how, is there an access to free pick where I can also generate the 180 angle of the character?
Tell me what you mean.
Like, can I use any feature on free
Are you
pick,
talking about video or images?
to actually bring a character inside as an asset? So in the future, I can pull out any angles.
It's kind of what I'm showing you right now. So
Uh,
that this, yeah, here you go. It just did it. So here, I just said, give me the 9 angles of the scene.
It's not the 180 pan around.
But is that a video or a still? I don't understand what you're asking.
I'm like, once I get it in, I can use it both for image generation and also video generation.
But are you asking me how to make a video right now?
Because right now I'm like, if I like get different projects, I just want to like restore all of my characters, my
Yeah, that's a
backgrounds
file
as
management
as a-
thing. And that might be a team thing that as you invite people to your project, this is more of like a file management thing.
Okay, so I'm like, if I want to like restore a character there as an asset and just use it in the future.
Yeah, honestly, if you go here,
Yeah,
it's history,
yeah.
everything's here.
Yeah, but
So
the thing is-
anything you create will always be here, and you can
The thing
you
is-
sort it by images or videos or audio. So everything will just be here. Like you see on mine.
Right now, I feel it's
Like
like,
this is all my history. Look, this is everything.
so right now,
You'll never lose it.
ever since I found a character that I kind of like, I started creating her as a character. Like I can like reuse her over and over in
Mhm.
my future generations, but
Mhm.
I don't really know how to use it in like,
Right. So what you're
Um,
talking about, you're creating a Laura right now. And actually, I'm realizing I should go back to that.
yeah, but later if I want to like assign video, assign audio to this particular character.
He will be stored as a character that you created in your free pick account. Is that your character?
Yeah,
So
right
now
now
that's your Laura. You've created your character. So now anytime you go to create an image,
yeah.
you will add that character.
Yeah, in image, I can kind of like control it
And
to
then
make it consistent.
and then you need to
But in video,
depending on the model, let's see, this is going to be dependent on models. Not all the models. Let's see,
I
Kling
tried
01
like
might do.
Clean 2.5.
Kling 01. 2.5 is old.
Okay.
This model,
How
yeah.
do I define the character? Because it gives me
Yeah.
like,
and this is now we're in the really deep end of the pool because it's different per model. That's
okay.
why that's in 2 weeks, to be honest.
Okay.
What I was going to show you is that there's a version of this. Again,
Mm-hmm.
if you really start enjoying Kling, you may be interested in being on their website. There's certain features that are available there.
Okay.
They call them elements,
Mhm.
and you can create like a character element there.
Character element.
Here,
Mhm.
what it's that you're going to kind of stay in the image to video workflow, which means that you are first creating keyframes. And then your
Okay.
ability to have that consistent character in your scenes starts
And
with you
then-
creating your key, and then you animate those.
Ah,
So there are ways to just only work with video and skip images. We'll talk about that in 2
but
weeks.
right now it's image to video,
But
so
while-
I can control the character.
Yeah,
in
learning the
image.
image to video workflow is a good, just basic starting point because that's
Mhm.
where all the control is. Like the most control you have over your image is by composing your own image.
What about like voices? Is there a way to? Oh, right now it's just like those narrators. I can just find.
Well, again,
one,
I'm
but
showing you
but
that
I
in 11
customize
Labs, you
them.
can create whatever you want. It's just then you
Yeah.
upload it as individual files of audio in these lip
So
sync techniques.
how do I do that? So do I create one, download it, and then reuse it again when I need it?
It becomes an asset that just lives in a folder. And then as you get to
Uh-huh.
the stages of creating your video,
Uh-huh.
depending on which video model you're choosing, it's a choice to bring it in.
To bring it back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Do you have a question? Hi.
I just want to say sorry. I'm
Oh,
so
whatever.
silly. I emailed Brooks. I usually have an appointment right before this class.
Okay.
On Fridays, but I moved it to after, so
Okay.
I will be late.
All right. We recorded the class.
Also, right now it gives me the option to do like auto selection.
Yeah, I mean, like
But-
that's for
but
a
is it
user that
better?
doesn't. That's for users that don't want to learn this stuff.
So mostly when we are learning.
To
we
answer
should be-
Samuel's question, that's them saying maybe you don't want to learn anything.
Are you
Okay.
registered?
They're trying to make
Yes.
choices.
Oh,
Right
okay.
now, we
registered
should
yesterday,
like
I think.
try one and
And-
then
oh,
switch
you're
to
cleared?
to the other
Yeah.
one, just
What's your
to-
name?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to
Oh,
keep
you
it
got
simple
on?
in which models to choose, so there will be a final workflow recommendation. But as you can see, there's a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And you're either going to
I'll send
become
you
as
the syllabus
expert
and
as
then the
anybody else
Canva
in the
link
space
that has
you
all
start
the
to
info
understand
on it.
the
I'll do
nuances,
that.
or you're going to choose your safe space that you're happy in.
And there are like two ways. One's One is I can actually directly tell her what to do and use the AI prompt, or I can actually bring LLM into that. I've been using LLM into
Yeah,
that. I feel that prompt is actually more
Yeah,
detailed.
I mean, that, and again, you're always a couple steps ahead of us. But some people have their own prompt generator,
Okay.
like in their LLM, that they sometimes they even fine tuned to be accurate to their vision. There's good generic ones, or as you can see, most of these tools are creating an auto prompt for you because they're kind of saying we kind of know what you want, and then sometimes it's helpful.
So if I am bringing prompts from other LLMs, I should turn it off so it doesn't get muddied, right?
I mean, it's just a choice, yeah. So just leave that off and use your own. And you can type it. You don't even have to
Yeah,
bring it
but
in.
mostly I'm like copy and pasting.
Yeah.
Then I should turn it off
Yeah.
so it doesn't get muddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's their version of doing what you're doing.
Okay.
They're using an LLM to create a prompt for you. That's behind the scenes.
I think last week you actually showed us how to do like 3D animation, like the roll around of the character. Is it also a feature on FreePic, or is it?
I think
only in-
it's increasingly like sometimes just like a preset on Higgsfield or these.
Mhm.
But again, you could prompt that yourself. You don't need the preset. And then again, that's stuff that I think we're going to dig in a little bit deeper next week, in 2 weeks.
Okay.
We're just talking lips right now. Hi.
Start class in any minute because
Sorry.
I had some few questions about outside of the class. And
Okay. Yeah. Maybe afterwards. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can keep going. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Maybe we finish and we have space. I'm just going to try to get through everything. All right. We're back. So I'm realizing that I kind of showed you Laura's at a high level, but while we're about to spend time with FreePic, I just want to point to it on how you would create your Laura. So again, maybe you're happy with Nana Banana Pro. Maybe what you got out of Midjourney is just the keyframe you're happy with. So these are choices. And I'd say as we get into advanced real character consistency, we're not going to learn it today, but I was just on the phone with my friend that he's at an AI studio. Like in a lot of ways, we still reserve the tool to face swap at the end. Like there's a lot of people that they just really focus on the whole scenes and they deal with the character at the end. So again, all these things are just techniques of how do you get what you want. And I'm just starting with these approaches, right? So let's say you want to create a character inside of here. Let's say you want to do that Laura thing that Fred was talking about. So when you go to create an image, and again, at some point, these UIs will become more familiar to you. But this little landscape image, you roll your cursor over it. Sometimes it's the image button at the top. You start to find your way through it. Always keep an eye on which model that you're in, just to start generate familiarity with where are you bringing your electricity, or which electricity are you working with. So inside of FreePic, their workflow, to answer Samuel's question, is they've tried to make this LoRa technology very accessible. And I think as you even heard me describe LoRa's, it can be very confusing. And inside much more professional, like comfy UI type workflows, when people really turn the screws on how precise and how 100% accurate they aren't this slippery. But FreePic gives you a pretty good way to do this. So you go to character. So as you're going to go start your image generation process, one entry point is you hit character. And then again, there's all these people. Again, FreePic is like, hey, we've already cast all these characters for you guys. If you want, you can just start making movies with this band of extras. They do have an option to go to my characters, right? And then I can do a new character. Okay, so they're even using words that sound familiar, like character, like not Laura. What's a Laura? So I get a new character, and then this is the interface to create your character. I'm going to give it a name, give it a gender. Perhaps that's limiting. And then here, they're even showing that there's a few different ways to do it. There is this very straightforward way that's reference image, and you can see that they're just asking for 3 pictures. And it could be that easy. And again, for people that just kind of want to get through this, maybe this is good enough for you. If you want access to that process where you are training, then there's this train button. You see this choice here on the top right? So training it means that now, and it's even giving me instructions, I'm going to upload 12 to 24 images. And they're even saying 5 to 25. We're into the wonk of how to execute this. And they're even telling you, I think it's in here. When you hit available models, okay, and this will be confusing, I'm just warning you, but I'm saying as you learn about LoRa's only work with certain models. Like Nana Banana Pro doesn't work on a LoRa, okay? Dream doesn't that those are multimodal image editors. They work differently. This idea of taking in this thing called a LoRa, which is a trained bit of data that says this is what Samuel looks like from 25 different angles with 5 different expressions. This works on Flux 1. And if we really want to learn more about LoRa's, if anybody's like, this is the professional skill I want to take into the world, when we get into advanced techniques, we can spend time on a tool called Quen and even FAL. There's more detailed ways to really, like, there's some places that knowing how to create a good LoRa is actually a really important job skill, because it actually shows your command of being able to be precise at an agency or wherever you want to get a job. But while we're learning the principles, Flux 1 is an image model that is precise for using LoRa. So they're just showing you, as you do this, once you really want to take advantage of this, when you go back to image generation, you really need to use Flux 1. Okay. So here you would then load up those pictures. Again, it can either be a real human being that you shot a bunch of pictures of, or that ability for again, you're mashing up tools. You would use Nano Banana Pro to say, give me 12 different angles of this, fuzzy character that I created. You would then generate all those images. And then you would bring in all those images, and that creates your LoRa. So I'll sort of show you, like, here's some examples of LoRa's that I've created. I hope that nobody's judging me. I'm working with a filmmaker that really wants to make a film about celebrities and their goofy spirituality journeys. So they want to do something with Meghan Markle. So I don't like deep faking, but it's a gig. It's a parody, and it's all above board. He's not lying to the world. But these are different LoRa's that I created. I created this Cybergirl character, and to do that, I had a bunch of pictures that I generated of her, and then it just took that information and created her. And now every time I bring her in, okay, let's even say I got this Napoleon character, right? I can select Flux, not Flux 2 Pro, Flux 1. And you can see here that they're trying to make this easy. It is confusing. But when you pull up the image models, they're giving you the key features. Training. Okay, so this is one that can do training. Or this other one, Flux 2. I don't know that one, but it seems related. But then you can see that this Flux family is where that's currently living inside this tool. So if you want to take advantage and play with LoRa's, that's the model that you will eventually use to generate your images. Okay, and then the really wonky part of this is that you may then start to have to deal with the style of your Nano Banana Pro images versus the style. That's when you're going to start marrying, and that's a fine-tuning post-production issue where you're going to start to really kind of fine-tune the aesthetics. But this is how you get to take advantage of character consistency. Okay, I know this is probably the most confusing stuff, but you guys should at least be aware of it. I'm happy to dig deeper with anybody individually. Nano Banana Pro is the much easiest, simplest tool for you guys. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you would do this if you wanted to, let's say, like, work more with claims and keep the character consistency, or would it be just generally?
So the point is that this is the image to video workflow. Yeah. There is such a thing as LoRa's for video, and again, there's some of the most like ninja level people I know, like they're all about LoRa's. And this is like for people that are really deep into Comfy UI, they have their own proprietary workflows that it's all about how they leverage LoRa's. So just to say, like, for people that are super into this stuff, it is very worth learning about this. It's not necessary, but it is relevant. Okay. So there is such a thing as a LoRa for video. So models like Juan and I think Quen are in that space. What we're mostly talking about is LoRa's for images. Because again, what we're learning right now is the image to video workflow. The idea that I keyframe, I create my storyboard image that used to just be my tool to tell my DP what do I want on set. I'm actually creating my shot, and then I'm going to animate it, and that's going to become my video, right? So the LoRa is to make that keyframe as good. And I was checking with my friend, like, if you are dealing with if you're just doing like a commercial about, like, I don't know, like Patagonia and why you should travel there, you don't need LoRa's. Like, you're going to create incredible images of glaciers and incredible images of, like, birds flying by. If you have a main character that is really important, that 100% level of consistency, I think that's when people are really leaning into LoRa's. And then that may be something that all of you can relate to. I'm just saying you're going to get pretty far, like, really turning the screws on Nano Banana Pro. Okay. So we can spend more time on LoRa's, but I just wanted you guys to see where it is inside the tool that I think you guys have paid for. I just want to point, for anybody that is kind of like, I kind of like this LoRa thing, Kriya is the other, I think I mentioned to you guys 3 different aggregators that are worth taking a look at. The Kriya version, I think, is a little bit nicer looking. When you go to their version of training, it's just a nicer interface. It might matter to you. as it's the exact same thing. It's literally the exact same thing. So none of these things, like, I'm not like, oh, this is the better option. It's just this, you might enjoy this better. It's a cleaner interface. I find FreePick great. I just think there's something a little bit noisy about the way they create interfaces. So if anybody's really enjoying LoRa's, Korea might be a happier place for you, which means it's another subscription that might be an alternative subscription for you. Go ahead.
Just because I'm seeing it here now. So one thing just for the assignment for this week, just kind of like felt like, yeah, I was going through a process of like art direction and like style and stuff like that. Would you create a lore for that, or is it purely for
You can. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is, you're asking the right questions, because as you really lean into like truly being like an art director in this space, you can have a LoRa for style. You can have a LoRa for that purse that is like the product that my client is actually asking us to make a commercial about. Like, you can have LoRa's for anything, because it is, you're literally telling it, you need all the information for this to be exact. It's just that Ambient Pro has like amazingly gotten us very, very far. And also a way to skip that training step and its ability to just kind of guess based off of an image, because it has such a strong world model understanding as a model.
Going off of that, if I want to like create the environment, like say I am defining the space, I know different directions where what is there. How do I like confine the characters and what they do within that space?
So that's next week. Yeah, I love how you're always like 1 or 2 weeks ahead of us. I love it. But next week we're doing world building, and Alex McDowell is a really big deal university kind of personality. It will just be here. He's asked to join. Maybe he'll just take over and start teaching. It'd be great. I'd like to learn from him. So I will be humbled by how wrong I am about everything next week. But I'm very literally going to point to what tools we can do to start creating keyframes. For now, again, I'm showing you that Genie 3 at the beginning of class right now. It's because it's not that all of this is going to be irrelevant, but there's other ways to think about the answer to your question, which is I might be living in a space that has no rectangle because I'm just walking around it infinitely. And I might have this level of concern of how does that space stay consistent, right? Currently, I'm just telling you how to make sure that space is consistent in the rectangle of that cutaway or that background of your shot. And we're going to learn next week how to place characters and worlds and what options you have for that. So anyway, Korea is interesting for anybody that wants a different interface. You'll see these things have different features. I don't want you guys spending tons of money, but you're probably fine just picking one of these and just starting to live in that environment. I want to jump ahead. This is if there's one thing I want you guys to pay attention to of going into homework, is this very confusing slide, and I'm going to move backwards. This will be your journey to just make a 2-person scene. Okay, and you can really do whatever you want. I just want you to explore this and find some flow that starts to work for you, because as you guys get to your midterm film in about, was it like 4 weeks from now? Yeah, this might be a choice that your movie wants, and I'm going to encourage you to have talking parts. You could, the easiest thing in the world is just to make a movie with voiceover and a bunch of pretty pictures. Like, fine, that's the best you got. Go for it. You should do more than that in this class. I think you can really challenge yourself. But to get talking parts, which again, are they uncanny? Are they, things that even as we're not happy with it, at least experiment with it. You can just kind of go straight to the bottom here and just generate with VO 3.1. You will have better credits starting next week, hopefully. And then we will learn how there's sort of concerns on the control level that you have, that you may be generating multiple angles of that character that you did insert as an image, but their voice keeps changing. Like, wait a second, I have like the same face, but why is he high pitched here and he's a little bit nasally over there? So I'm saying that's the flaw with VO 3.1. And then this would be the solution to go back to 11 labs, voice change, make it consistent. Okay, now we're going to start struggling with, oh, I lost that environment sound that I really liked. Again, I'm just going to show you some hacks to see, like, this is the best thing you're going to get out of that. And I call it like a rescue option. And there's an attempt at keeping that sound design that VO created for you. On the top right is, like, I think the most high level of control option. We're about to learn about cling motion. Okay, I think I alluded to before, where you can use a driving video of me and my performance and my face, and that's a choice I can do to direct my scene. So that's where I can control I can literally direct the action of what is an actor doing with their body, with their face, and I can direct their audio of what are they doing with the sound and whose character voice, and how do I direct it in 11 labs. I can even use my voice to perform it and then change it, and then I can even use sync labs to even make sure that the cheekbones are doing that thing. Why are you so upset right now? I have that level of control. So on the top right is the most control for somebody that's really excited about that stuff. On the bottom is the most like just set it and forget it, and it's really good, and you're just gonna have to adapt to those limits. Okay, I'm pretty sure Google will figure this out soon, and most of this is just choose your own adventure and you'll be fine with Google. But we're not there yet. Okay. In the middle is the idea that Kling gave you that option to add a voice. They did do what Google isn't doing yet. They added that choice on their website, not on FreePick. Again, that's like either just be aware of it and do it later, or spend that money. It's your money. But I'm saying they did do the thing that Google hasn't done yet. What I'll say is most people still think it's not that good. It's a little stiff. Performances are a little limited. But it's showing you where are these technology choices going. And then somewhere in the middle is this idea where I can do the motion capture, and then I can sort of swap out my voice, and then I can later on figure out my sound design. So it's just sort of navigate these set of possibilities in this range of tools that we just learned. The easiest thing you can do if people are just busy and they're just here kind of auditing the course is, I don't know, just use VO 3.1 and make a scene and just get into the habit of creating characters that are consistent. And that might be the minimal learning. I think as you really push yourself to be a master of where the edges are, these are sort of the choices you guys make. Okay. So I think the one thing we haven't looked at yet is how video works. And this is a glossed over version of it. We're going to spend more time in 2 weeks when we're really leaning into video, but just to sort of at least get the basics of executing what I think is pretty doable homework. We're going to go back here to FreePick. We select the little camera feature. Okay. Again, you can spend your money on a tool called VO 3.1 and blow through it really fast. You can see the credits are really high. Okay. If you're really just trying to experiment and you're truly taking advantage, like outside of the assignment, every now and then you can see on FreePick, there's this little thing, unlimited. So depending on the account that you signed up for, you know, they're not charging you anything. Go nuts and just play. I'm going to encourage you to try a few things. One is this 2.6 motion control. Okay, so inside the Kling website, it's just all one thing. FreePick breaks it out as two different models. They're the same model. Okay, there's when I go to all the models, you'll see that there is a 2.6 choice here. There's also a 2.6 motion control. That's because the interface is different. Okay, so this, again, we're in the sort of the confusing options these tools have given us. I think you guys are going to see that flow is very elegant when we finally get access to that. So motion control, this is why the reason they've set it up this way is because these are your two choices. I'm going to select a keyframe, like any one of my weird characters, and then I'm going to select a video, a driving video. Okay, so the way this works is just literally get your iPhone, get your fancy camera, do whatever you want. Like, and maybe if we have time today, we can experiment with this feature. Like, get footage of the driving action of your character moving, you know, get some shots of the face moving, get the sound of the face moving. You're going to take that video and then you're going to put it behind the keyframe of your character in the world that you've created for them. And again, we'll do more world building next week, but just get what you need today. So that's why I just have like some pig at a poker table, right? You're just going to marry those two things and it's just going to create a video of that character. I'll show you, like, without us the one thing is that this takes like 10 minutes to render. It's a long render. It's like 5 to 10 minutes. So I did, for example, where is she? Maybe I did it in Kling. Where's my files? Oh. X. I hate these websites. Oh, I didn't sign in. That's why. I was like, geez. We get to go back to the fun of watching me sign in. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. All right. So, like, for example, this was another character. Okay. So that's just me in my living room at like 12 o'clock at night preparing for your class, guys. That's my not interesting voice. But I just took a shot of me at that rough general angle of just me sort of generic. And that's not essential, but it is where you're starting to twist the screws on getting a better result. And if you're going to sit there and burn through credits and wait 5 to 10 minutes, it's worth thinking of, like, am I at least going to frame this close to the frame? Yeah, give it a try. Do your best. But that's literally what it's doing. It's taking a still frame. It's matching the lips moving. that's capturing my face. This one, all right, I'm gonna sound so boomer in this. I did this, and you're gonna make fun of me. But I did this. Sorry, danger. I did this in my car. I just did this on my phone because I was like testing out the tool. So I created this keyframe of like a vampire princess on a car on PCH. Sorry, I apologize. Might be among the dumbest things I've ever said. But I'm just saying I did all that body movement just in my car, and it's not perfect, and you can sort of see that there's a way to like think about how I framed it better. But it's getting all my body movement, it's getting all my faces stuff, and it's just applying it to, I'm clearly not in that car. It's not shooting it from a high angle. So it's got a lot of intelligence to play with. So this is a pretty fun thing to play with. And I'd say this is like the beginning of your journey. You're going to create your keyframe that we spent a lot of time learning how to create a consistent character. You're going to then shoot your driving video of not that character. There's no makeup involved. There's no set design. It's just going to be you or your actor or something you found off the internet. What a lot of people are doing is they're just grabbing like TikTok dance videos and like throwing it on the, usually copywritten material like the Joker or something, and then just saying like, hey, like, I just made a cool, funny video of the Joker in a different movie. So it is that simple. It's just grabbing physical video and applying it to your chosen frame, and then it makes that performance come through. So again, just think about these words we normally apply to humans. We're applying physical performance, bodies, faces, audio performance, the voice that I can create, choose the voice of, choose the execution of in 11 Labs, and then I can marry those two things into a video. So what we would do here, clearly she shouldn't sound like me, right? So what would we do here to finalize that? Let's say this is the key scene in my movie. What would I do next? Who's starting to hack this stuff in their heads?
You take the voice and do the voice changer in 11 Labs.
Yeah.
And choose character. And
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that while VO3 is still on that sort of ledge of not being perfect, is what people are even doing for VO3. They're just kind of like, they're saying, oh, my character voice kept on changing. I got to make it consistent. And then to be honest, you'll still get the timing right. Like it'll be pretty good and it'll kind of like land right in. You kind of need to sometimes speed it up and slow it down a little bit in post. So this is where we're on the edge. We're still inside the uncanny valley. It's not quite right. And if VO3 could just figure out how to let me choose my voice the same way they're letting me choose my image, everything gets better. But we're almost there. I can't believe that they're not fine tuning it right now. It's such an obvious thing. But while we're hacking it, I think I'm at least showing you that the thing that VO3 isn't letting you do is choose. Like, so you get to choose your performance. You get to choose the voice, the sounds. I think this is, as a director, this might still be a place you want to be. And I just want you guys to see these tools. The last thing that, as you might imagine, what VO3 is doing really well is that environment sound. Remember I was pointing to that what's really special is they're getting the sound of the room or that waterfall in the background or the water, with that word in the water or whatever. So in the process of that voice changer rescue that you just described, you lose that. You would lose that environment, and you would either just add a sound design stage to your process, or you're mixing the voice to sound like the right room, or so sound designers are still extremely important to the post process. You'll hear every proper AI filmmaker say that that's still the most important step for the realism. There is this trick. It's not perfect. I can grab a video like this. This is a random website I found that it was recommended called LALAL. It's free, so you don't have to spend any money on it. It'll grab the video, and I think these things are actually mostly intended for music, and it'll split it. So, right. And is it this one? There we go. So then it's not perfect. I'm just showing you a bit of an attempt at hacking it, that after she's done talking, I still have a bit of my environment sound. So you're just kind of hacking. This is meant for music to separate like audio from beats. And so it's not designed for this, but I'm saying as you're trying to piece back together what VO3 got right after you swapped out the voice, this might be a tool for you. That's in the deck as well. So we're right at 11:05. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Again, this is in the Canva deck. Everybody should have links, so you don't have to screen grab or anything. For what it's worth, I'm just kind of showing you one way to approach lip syncs. This is a very big space. If you just Google it, there's so many people talking about it. And honestly, this stuff mostly starts pointing towards avatars and all like the stuff that is weird and happening. Like this is a tool called Veed. Nothing is worse than AI marketing. Like these guys are all so cheesy. But I don't know. Maybe he's really cool. He's a friend of yours. Anyway, it's like a tutorial for a tool called Veed. I'm not telling you to spend your money. I'm just showing you that even what I'm showing you, I'm trying to prioritize direction, performance, choices you might want. Some of these things are increasingly even more automated for different reasons, but you can see the quality is really getting there, and like it's almost optimized for just like some quick TikTok video of somebody trying to sell you makeup or something. So I just want you guys to see this stuff as you perhaps find interest in this. These are other similar videos. This is interesting because if you do eventually, if you do inside of 11 Labs, I think I'll come back to this, but this is a video that walks through it of their. They always have nice British people. Like British people are always teaching us things. But I joke. I'll just joke about this. I worked at a Discovery Channel show long time ago. It was called It Takes a Thief. It was literally a British TV show where back when people did shows like this, that they would hire two like criminals to like break into your house and show you how vulnerable your security system was. And then like it's a makeover, it's a security makeover show. And like when we brought it over to America, I was working for a British production company. When we brought it to America, like we had to recast it. And like you can imagine the casting. It's like we're looking for criminals that are good at breaking into things. And we had like the casting reels were hilarious. They're all these like weird fucking criminal. I don't know. It's just, what are we doing here? This is crazy. And then eventually they just said, oh, we really like those two British hosts. And we ended up just bringing them over. And like for anybody from the UK, like they're gangsters. They sound like they walked out of like Snatch or some like Guy Ritchie movie. And it's just like, we're all so dumb that like, we just think just because it's British, it sounds like refined, and they're literally just like criminals. Anyway, I just think it's funny. It's like the same thing's happening in this space. Anyway, digression. So inside of the image to video tool, and this might be something you like. If a lot of the stuff I just walked you through of the lip sync stuff feels like too many choices, this is the paid plan, which isn't a lot on 11 Labs. When you choose the model here, you scroll all the way down, there's a lip syncing section. Okay, and that little video that's in the deck, we don't have to waste time in class if you guys want to see how they lay it out. But you can see that they actually have the Sync Labs tool, that one that I showed you. It's a much more minimized version. Like I showed you all that React stuff and like how it can do lips. So you don't have access to that here, but it does do the same thing. They're asking you to upload that like mime video and then audio. What's kind of nice is that if you're doing this inside of 11 Labs, if you want to change your mind on the audio you recorded, you can just re-record it right here. You're in one setting. So I just want to point to 11 Labs. I think their UI is very good, and it's a good feature. And if you want to watch the video on it, but that is the world of character consistency, performance, and how far we've come in this space. It's a lot. We could probably spend weeks on this stuff, but I kind of want to get you guys to just like fire hose this stuff a little bit and then ask questions where you bump walls. But this is what we're going to try to do. I really think it could be a simple, like, again, guys, nobody's winning an Oscar during this class. Do not obsess over your ideas. Like perfect should not be the end of, the enemy of good. Do these things as for your exercises. So just come up with a conceit that's good enough. Don't spend any time on this because you're just trying to get to the point that you have two characters. Like you saw that first video of the therapy session. Could just be that. Like just come up with a funny therapy session of just two characters that are talking to each other, and just experiment with the ability to create two people. I'll show you just one trick to just save you time. Like here in Image Generator, let's say we're going to just get that wide shot. So I'm just doing a really basic scene, wide shot of two people and then close-ups. That's the minimal thing. And I think you guys can quickly advance from there if you want. But if that's all you have headspace for, I can upload from my history this character. I'm going to add him. And again, I'm skipping the character option here because I'm not using Laura's right now. I'm just using two pretty good images because Nano Banana Pro is gonna get me pretty far. I'm gonna pick, where's my pig face guy? Did he go away? I guess this guy. I don't know where, oh, there he is. We're gonna add him. So now I have two characters. Give me a wide shot of these two characters sitting at a poker table. And I can even, and this is as we start to world build next week, this is jumping ahead. I'm saying these two characters because I think it'll get it. These are two characters, put them in a scene. But as you start to see the workflow that FreePick is creating for Samuel's question, I can say, give me a wide shot of at image. You see that thing that pops up? When I tag it at image, it lets me choose which of these things am I talking about because I've now tagged them by putting them inside my interface. I'm going to say at image 1, give me, and like write a sentence, give me a wide shot of at image 1 and at image 2. And I don't even have to say characters sitting at a poker table. It's like I said, give me a shot of like Henry and Wendy sitting at a poker table. So that's how I can be precise in my prompt. So I'm just starting to show you the way FreePick's prompting structures work. And then as we choose our choices, we'll do more of this next week. Sometimes, depending on the model, I can do up to like 4 outputs. I'm going to choose 16 by 9 because I'm making a movie, but you can choose lots of things. These are other choices you have. I'm going to choose 2K. I could do 1K because I want it to be faster and I want to save my credits. Or as I really start caring about my final output, I might want 4K. I might want really crispy, high resolution images to generate videos off of. But just for this, I'll keep it simple. I guess unlimited is on. I don't know what that means. All right, and then we go. So then this is like the core video you guys are going to make. You're going to have your wide shot and your 2 close-ups. Just create a conversation. Get this one talking, get that one talking, cut to the wide shot. You can even experiment. If people like spending their own money, which I'm not encouraging you to, but I'm just showing you the world that we're in. One of these videos here, this one down here on the bottom left, it's called a tool called Design. If you're really interested, like they're currently the only, I don't know if they're the only, I think Kling might have a way at this, but you can prompt 2 characters. I can have this one say it'll identify visually that they're different faces. So you can explore these things. You don't have to. I'm just showing you, look, this is on you guys to get excited about this stuff. And I'm just giving you something to sort of start building characters that talk to each other in worlds. But that is, in theory, if you wanted that wide shot of 2 characters, this is a tool that can let you do that. And you can see the tutorial. I actually think as we learn about Kling more, Kling has a more refined prompting structure that lets you do a version of that when you prompt the voices. But I want to keep it simple. Like just get a regular talking head. Does that make sense? As I ask you guys to do that, are you guys like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Or does anybody like feel like today we learned how to do that? Idea? How would we do it? Here, I'm challenging you. What's your steps? Think of an idea for a scene. Yeah. You. Sorry, I'm talking.
Go and create the look of the shot first, and then I would put in a description of what I want the scene to be and like with details, and then I would go in and add the voice changer after.
Yeah, so here, I just created the wide shot. Here's my 2 characters, pretty much. And then in FreePick, again, the workflows that they're trying to create for us to stay here and not move around. Create video, that's their version of making life simple. I just hit that button. I don't want motion control because I'm not doing any driving video. I don't have a shot of 2 people sitting at a table. I'm just going to animate it. So I'm going to pick this. I'm going to pick a better model. That's weird, the 2.6. I'm going to pick 2.6. It's currently the best model on Kling. If you guys are really nervous about blowing through credits, like pay attention. As you're just experimenting, look for the cheaper credits options, and you'll start to notice the differences, which ones maybe you like better. High-Luo is popular. Some people like it. And I'll say, scene in a casino, camera pans around a pig and a lizard playing poker. I mean, I could spend time, in 2 weeks, we're going to spend more time thinking about directing our cameras, but I'm just doing that. I'm going to spend apparently 225 funny money credits here on FreePick. And now it's going to generate that. And that's my wide shot. Okay, so that's my cutaway. Halfway there. Now I just need 2 shots of people talking. It's that simple. And then I'm assuming you guys know how to use editing tools like Premiere, CapCut or something. You just create a little scene, just get in the habit of like, wow, I can, and again, this could just be previs for you guys. I'm not trying to force any of this stuff on anybody, but your ability to just whip up a scene, write up a little dialogue and have two people talk to each other, like this is how you're gonna do it.
Mentioned that if I want the wide shot, like the two shot of them both within that shot and talking to each other, I will have to use the other lip sync options instead of it.
I mean, right now I'm just grabbing video of nothing happening. It's just, we're in a scene. We'll see what it does. Nobody's talking in this shot that I'm doing right now. I'm just giving you a cutaway.
Image, then image to video, and then do the lip sync voices. Then in the video, I don't really need to specify what they are saying, right?
Unless they have dialogue that you're adding. So let's do that. Let's do it here. So with that, here we go. Here's our wide shot. Okay, doing okay. Kind of cool. All right, there's no audio, but we got our cutaway. I could just throw a little sound design on this, and I got ding, 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 casino sounds, and I can go back to 11 Labs and generate sounds of casino floors and throw that in as my sound design. So then now I'm going to go to video, and we could just do it here. Like, let's see. I'm going to now grab my shot of let's see, the pig guy. What should he say? Who are some writers in the room? What's the pig thinking about right now? Let's start getting our theater hats on. Okay, so pig at a poker table. He says, so this is, and we'll learn how to prompt in VIA, but I'm using VIA right now. I'm just cutting to the chase and saying this is what it sounds like with just using VIA. You see, I chose VIA 3.1. See, that's the model I chose. He says, what did he say?
This one's for all the bacon.
This one is for all bacon. I was at an improv show last night. People were doing that. They're funnier than us, or than me. You're funny. They weren't. I was like afraid. I was like afraid to say not like the wrong thing. Everybody was funnier than me. It was good. Groundlings. Anybody go to Groundlings? You guys don't go to Groundlings? It's cool. It's like an improv show in LA. It's like an iconic institution. All right. So and here, so now as we're starting to see video generation, I'm choosing 1080p. I could choose 720p as I become conservative with my credit use when I'm using a intensive tool like VO3. I might want to like just test this out on 720p. I don't need to go for full 4K. Do I want this to be a full 8 seconds, which is the maximum length on VO3 currently? Different video models have different maximum lengths. As I choose VO3, it shows me that. I'll just do, seems like a 4-second shot to say this one's for all the bacon. And then I'm choosing 16:9. VO3 does offer you vertical video, and increasingly the other models are aware that some people are doing this stuff for your phones. So we're just going to stay in movie land, and I'm going to say it looks like, I've actually never seen that. Is that just like ambient audio? Yeah, I guess it's audio. It's an interesting interface. So then we're just going to generate it. Yeah, let's see how it goes. And then you'll see that stuff that we're going to learn more about, I'm just using a start frame. Okay, as we get into video later on, there's this whole notion of start and end frame. So as I start to direct and visually storytell, I can decide where does my video start and stop. Those are choices.
If I want to go longer than 8 seconds, I can actually use the end frame as my start frame.
Correct. And that's actually one of the coolest things we'll learn in a couple of weeks is how to make a oneer. Is like, and there's a lot of really cool techniques. Like what some people are doing is they're doing what you just did, is that you're just grabbing the end frame and just daisy chaining it. The other thing that you can kind of do is you can just make 2 different videos and grab the last frame of this one and the first frame of that one, and then use that. And then you're even doing more radical stuff. That you're deciding where your video is really going and where it's starting, and then you're using that sandwich in the middle. That's fun. We're gonna do that in a couple weeks. But yes, that's how we start to. Once we get into Flow and we get set up on that tool, you'll see that actually one of my favorite things about Flow is that it has this kind of like almost improv vibe, that you can just start with one image and just keep going and just extending and just like directing, because you have access to Nano Banana Pro inside of Flow and you have the same VO3 model. So you can even though it's an 8-second shot, you can just extend it and just keep extending it and keep extending it, which is pretty cool. All right, so now we have our pig. Oh, That's weird. Hang on. Yeah, I don't even, okay, I think you re-roll that one. But you see what it's trying to do. These robots are sometimes drunk. But you know, we're halfway there. Again, if this is the only thing you guys experiment with is create your 2 talking head shots and then put them in context of a wide shot, you're starting to really see the scene building that you can do. I hope you have more fun than that. I think once you get into this and you get a little familiarity with the tool, you can go further. Does anybody want to spend the last 30 minutes doing the motion control stuff? Does that sound fun to anybody? Like we get literally, like we will stand up, our bodies will move, and we just grab our phones, shoot video, go in the hallways. I don't know, are we allowed to do that, Habib? Go in the hallways, or do we stay here? If somebody wants to shoot like a walking shot in the hallways, are we allowed to do? I don't know.
Go for it.
Okay, got it. Okay, so I would just experiment, like just grab just a driving video of you or your friends, start talking to each other. We're all homies, and grab a shot and then experiment with this the Kling motion control. And again, this is another way to think about the experiment today. You're going to select this model, click motion control, and then you're going to grab that video that you just shot on your phone and apply it to your still character. And now your character will do what you just did wherever you are. Want to try it? Everybody want to pair up with the new friend they just made right next to them? Lauren, you just made a friend. You guys are playing. Let's do it. Let's give it a try. I think this is like a good like unlock because you're instantly starting to see how you could just experiment. Yeah.
Yeah, what if everyone makes one and then by the end let's show like 5
If we can.
people?
It just takes a long time to render.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It gives an incentive to have finished.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, if we would love to show them today, guys. So like again, factor in that it takes about 5 to 10 minutes to render. So get this shot quickly, bring it in, and let's give it a try. Hi.
My name is Kyra.
Kyra?
Kyra, C-A-N-I-N.
C-I-N.
I'm not in the class right now.
Okay. Brooks is your
I
guy.
was in this class last semester.
Oh yeah,
They
how am I
changed
doing? Are we okay?
You're great.
Okay, cool.
Some new platform like this one I haven't
Okay.
heard about it yet.
Great. Yeah.
So the reason why I'm curious because like I don't know if you know there's a video streaming platform called Tencent Video. They're like the
Yeah,
number
sure.
one.
On your own, yeah.
Yeah. And they reached out to me like yesterday, and they were like, we know that you guys have, they know that we are from USC, and then there's some AI classes and then discussions going on.
I mean, I would talk to Brad. So
Yeah.
Brad does all the deals with the models.
Oh,
She's talking to Tencent.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
But that might be interesting for the other classes too. I'd be interested in them for 3D. I think we're pretty good on our other tools. I mean, I'll take, as you can see, we already have a lot of tools.
Yeah.
It's a little bit overwhelming.
What did Tencent say? Yeah.
Basically like saying
Hey.
they're looking for ways to collaborate with
He
us.
did. It's attendance. Yeah.
Oh, what's your name?
Aiden.
Aiden? Oh, great. I'll mark you down.
How are we doing, Brad?
You're registered, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right,
We're
thank you.
still
So,
finishing the paperwork for.
like, what kind of collaboration were they wanting to do?
They didn't specify.
Yeah.
So after the Spring Festival for us, which is next month, the beginning of next month, they are planning on a trip to come to LA, and then they want to visit USC and then see if there's any ways of collaborations. I don't know. Like,
I mean, that would
what
be
exactly.
super. If they wanted to come in, I mean, I'd have to talk to Fred, but that would sound super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to know if we can share some professors or whoever in charge of this their information so that they can get in touch. Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be super sick. So.
Yeah, and I saw the thing you sent about the new world building.
Why don't after class stop by and I'll talk to Fred in the meantime and let's see if we can set something up because that'd be really fun. Do you work for Tencent?
No, sort of. I'm an intern at there.
Oh, congrats! That's awesome.
So I do their Instagram and YouTube platforms online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is the Tencent AI model? I haven't heard much about it.
I haven't heard about them yet. I don't think they have any.
So like.
No, they're doing TV streaming.
So what were they wanting to do with the AI in this class?
So.
Like, do they want AI for their platforms? Like,
What they had to do was just like make these roll really easily.
I think what they trying to do is they want to get into the get a share in the AI industry. I would say that's my best guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So were you in this class before?
Yeah, I was in Ben's class.
Oh.
Were you there last semester?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think you look familiar.
Yeah, I know. Same. Yeah.
I'm also trying to get rich to Ben.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't know if I can Try his personal email, because it's a Gmail and then.
Yeah, reach out to his personal. Yeah.
Have
I
you
mean,
tried that before?
I haven't, but Jaden, the TA, is always in contact with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know if that violates his privacy and stuff.
Oh, no, said to reach out to him.
Oh.
Yeah, he's totally down for that.
Yeah.
He's not with USC anymore. He's,
Right.
I mean, he might come back at some point, but
Are you also doing anything other about AI or?
I'm
filmmaking?
really into it. I'm really trying to get in. I just made a spec commercial that I'm finishing up right now, and then I'm working on creating some like animating public domain shorts.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah. One of the people in this class actually showed me that like in China right now it's blowing up with the like animated novels.
Right.
Yeah. And so I was like,
Are you also trying that?
I haven't seen that in the US, so I was like, that'd be super cool to be like a first mover here and try that out.
Yeah. I think they're earning a lot of money for that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wait, by the way, what's your name again?
Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah.
Okay,
What
nice
was
to
yours?
meet you. It's CANRAN. It's
Just say it.
it's pronounced different than how it's spelled. It's,
Oh, okay.
How we pronounce it is Chairan, but it's difficult to pronounce. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, it's good meeting you.
Or maybe just call me CR.
CR?
Yeah. Oh, may I follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, of course,
Maybe
yeah.
in the future we can collaborate on some
That'd
AI
be really
programs
fun.
and stuff.
Yeah, because are you working on AI stuff?
I know that there's some AI festivals going on, and I'm looking for team members, partners to build some portfolios and stuff.
Gonna put yourself in?
Yeah, sure. That's good.
They're like, well, we're figuring it out. We'll have SKU.
That's in China.
Charge for it.
Curious.
But it's still.
It's funny. I mean, you kind of want to like encourage the
Thank you.
Oh,
Of course. Yeah, no, let's totally collaborate. That'd be super fun.
That was super fun. Hey, wait, by the way, do you know if there's an AI club in the school right now?
I don't think there is. Like in filmmaking, no, definitely not.
I would say so as well, because I just go to the student distribution or festivals office, and I was like, do you guys know if there's a club about this? And they were like, we don't know if there is one, so.
It's so taboo here that it's like not a.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that AI has becoming a less taboo thing right now.
It's
One
like
idea I'm having right now is because I'm gathering all this information about these tools and festivals and stuff, and I found them really useful for me. And I'm gonna share them with other people who are also interested in this. So I'm thinking if there's not a club about this, then maybe I can start a club about that.
you totally should. I mean, the people in this class I'm sure would be interested. The people from
Right.
Ben's class last semester I'm sure would be into it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm seeing more people here than last semester.
Oh, for sure.
I'm glad this has become a thing. Yeah, and I just wrote an email to them to say, hey, I am interested in this and I want to start a club, and then looking forward to their reply.
Also, if you have like a festival info, if you have like a newsletter stuff you're making, I'd be happy to just put that out to the email list and let everyone know. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, sure. Okay, let's get that going.
Okay, let's do it.
So may I also get your email or maybe the professor's email as well?
Yes,
Because I'm
yes,
not
yes.
in the class right now, and I don't think I have enough credits to enroll this semester, so I
Yeah.
might just be.
Here, put in your
sitting
email and
here.
I'll send you an email with all of our contact info.
Okay, that's me.
I
Do you think it would be cool if just I just sit in the class and not register?
Okay.
Is she open to that? Or?
It's technically not allowed,
Okay.
but if you come in and sit down and just chill, I don't think anyone will kick you out.
Okay.
So just Fred does not care if you're in here or not. It's the fact like the heads of the department are like no auditing.
Yeah, I'll
But-
be invisible as much as possible.
Well, you can still talk. Like
Okay.
just hell, if you want to send me the assignments, send me the assignments. I personally don't care. I'd love to see them.
Okay.
Just show up and just don't say anything for attendance. I'm
Okay,
sure
okay,
it'll be fine.
cool, cool,
Yeah.
Thank you. You're
Of
so cool.
course. Got you. Hey,
Do you have any idea when we are gonna get access to Flow? Like for this assignment, do we have? it?
for this assignment, we won't quite have flow yet. I think they're working on getting it next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we need our production number for that?
Production, there's no production numbers for this class.
I have one.
For this class?
Yeah, I've already got one at SCA Community.
You see the pop-up?
Yeah.
See
You
that
don't need
this
one.
pull up, this
Okay,
menu that
okay.
comes
Yeah,
up?
because we're
Yeah.
the production
That
number just
comes
for
up,
like getting
you go to
equipment. We don't
variations.
actually get equipment in here.
And this
Okay.
is where you
So
can
flow is just
get
like
like
standard
those,
issue. We don't need to apply for it.
like you can
whatever.
do
Yeah,
like,
no, they'll
like,
send you an
like
email
facial
and then it goes
features,
into
and you
your
can get a bunch of
personal email and
expressions.
sign up
Yeah.
for
But
it.
this creates the,
Personally,
um,
I actually
3x3
received
grid.
something. I
Yeah.
think
we
that's
can do a
more about the
4x4
testing
grid,
model,
2x2,
right?
Yeah.
and that
It's
just gives you
different from
lots of
what we
That
get.
went out to
Oh.
USC
So if you look at
emails,
what
it wasn't
happened
code, So
before-
we're trying to redo that because Google Flow doesn't work on USC.
Yeah.
And so we're
So this
working on
was
fixing
my,
that.
look what it did for
Oh,
me.
Next week
It
we
gave
should
me
have
this
more of that.
frame,
So if
Right?
this week
Yeah.
for this
And
week's assignment, we're not gonna
it gave me all the
use,
stills.
flow
Oh,
on
so
that.
it's the-
We can use other.
It just blows them
Any
out.
other
Oh.
platform.
So it says,
that
give me a
functions
3x3
fancy.
grid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it
What
gives me
about
all the individual
Gemini
stills.
students?
Oh,
Do,
got it.
do we
And then
have
now I
any
have
idea
multiple
what's
angles. So you
going
could do
on,
that.
why we are
This was for the
denied that?
sequence,
I
Yeah.
think
but you
might
can
have
do it
expired, 'cause I have
for
Gemini
uh,
students. But
When
I-
did you get that?
I got it like 6 months
reframe.
ago.
So then you get
6
multiple
months ago. It
perspectives
seemed
of the
like
same
it's-
shot.
Yeah.
It's supposed to
Storyboard is
due
what we
by
just did.
April?
Yeah.
People, I can
Of
get
this
all
year?
these different
Yeah,
expressions or
that's on
ages.
the
Like I can do
website,
like multiple
Gemini
ages of that
dot,
guy.
Oh.
slash
Do you see what I'm saying?
students.
It's
Yeah.
doing individual prompts.
Yeah.
It's saying
It's doing,
that,
like, a
but
blast prompt,
there is like
where it's
word on the
giving you, like,
street
9
that it's like
shots.
it should end
And then
by
it's giving you all the
today.
individual frames. So you could
But
like
up until
just have
today, a
him and
bunch
say,
of us
give me
are
9
not
angles of this guy.
getting verified.
And it'll just give you a bunch of
I'm
shots.
wondering.
Did you verify with your
why
own
it's have
personal
such a
Gmail?
big
Or?
Yeah, I did my personal Gmail.
Uh,
Try it with
I
your
just
personal.
add
and
one
see if
more
it works.
Yeah,
sentence,
I am
and-
doing that,
and
and
for
it's
this
like,
one, I have the
like
same.
the school doesn't verify
Yeah,
my
the same
It might,
prompt.
it might be that it thinks this is Santa Claus. It's tricky. This is where we're kind of like trying to like.
That's
Yeah,
really
but
weird.
for this one, I just put the reference picture.
I think
I
yours
need to,
might
I might
be
need to go
tracking
backwards
down.
with you on what you did. It's hard.
It's hard to-
When I did it 6 months ago, it worked just fine.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, no,
So
that's
at
actually the
first
same.
it
So
was
you can
the website was saying
storyboard a
like,
scene
oh,
and use
it's
the
kind of like
reframe
crowded at this
functionality.
time.
So this is
And
like
then
I think a really
for a
dope
couple of
feature.
times,
Mhm.
like,
So
oh, we've
I
already
just
attempted
showed you that thing that my prompt was the
Okay,
storyboard
so you have
cinematic
access
grid.
to it.
Yeah,
did
But
3
it
by
was like a
3,
long time ago.
16 by
I
9,
keep trying
and it gave me
because
this.
it's
Like
nothing
this
like
is the
we
results
don't
of
need to
that
give you permission
prompt.
for that.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
what
That's
free
like
pick
the
does in
USC
addition is
automated
what used to
system.
be is then
So
I'd get
whether or not it
this,
works is
and then I'd
like-
have to tell it extract this one, extract them
Right.
one by
If you want
one.
to take a look
Free
and
pick
see
is
what
then
you're doing,
giving me
try to
all
help.
9
I mean,
frames.
I don't know who to
additionally.
talk to about
Is
this.
and
This
where
one.
is that?
Do you want to just
That's
show
in the variations. You
Under
see
the
this?
variations,
You see this
okay.
tool here, variations.
Okay, I see.
So when you pull that up, this is a variations tool. It's new. So I select my image that I want to get coverage of, and then I have all these different iterations. I could do a reframe, which means multiple angles of the same thing. I could do storyboard, which is multiple shots from a sequence that it's imagining. I could do people, which I can do express different ethnicities of the same character, different expressions, facials, happy, sad, age. These are all different ways that you could do these things individually one by one with Nana Banana, or you can put it in an Uzi and have it
Yeah,
do it
that
all at
helps a
once.
lot.
And then you can literally think about how quickly you can direct a scene.
Yeah, I was actually
Like-
thinking that
like-
this as a storyboard.
But this is to me what's so insane. Like I think the original prompt, if I'm not mistaken, was generate 9 different angles of this image. Right? That's what this is. So this is that. This is like the same image and it just creates 9 different angles of the same shot. Okay. This is 9 different shots from the same scene. So I got the guy pulling a card out. I got the guy staring at, well, that's a mistake. The cards, it's showing him his cards.
Yeah.
And I can literally just direct a scene off these 9 images.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like that. That to me, this was like in my class last year at Chapman,
Mhm.
when this launched like end of November, like last 2 weeks of class, this changed everything.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like
It seems so much
everybody's
quicker.
film just suddenly got made
Yeah.
because now they weren't like slogging through frame by frame image generation.
Mhm.
They were instantly getting their storyboard. And like action scenes were amazing. And then once you start getting good at that start and end frame or the oneers and all that stuff, like you have so much to work with. It's cool. It's
Yeah,
cool
I'm
stuff.
gonna take a look.
What's interesting is when we start even slipping into the video, just going straight to video, like then you start to really feel what's possible.
For the Kling prompt with the motion capture, is there anything? Do you just say use this image to?
It's basically your prompt is the video.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you can describe it a bit,
Mhm.
but at that point, it's the multimodal tech that it's using the information of your visual.
S-
So why don't you show me where you started?
yeah. Oh, by the way, are these the storyboard they made for you, or you give the detailed?
All I
prompt of
said,
each?
all I said was dramatic poker scene. That's all I said.
Oh, and they give all the storyboard.
Here, let's see if I can pull up the original shot. Is it here? Trying to see if they can show me the original prompt.
I think it's
Reuse prompt, is that it?
I think it's double click the.
No, I'm trying to see which image I gave it.
Oh,
I think I gave it this. I think I just gave it that shot.
Yeah.
Reuse prompt. Is it? Yeah. No, it's grabbing that. Like all I'm saying is dramatic poker scene.
oh,
And it's got the information of the location.
yeah,
It's got the information of my main character. It imagined him. That wasn't part of my prompt.
yeah,
It just created him. And then it makes him consistent. And it creates a scene with the hands.
Yeah.
Creates a scene. And it just, and look, some of it's wrong, right? Like,
yeah,
like this, like why are we looking at his cards? Okay, maybe he's showing him his cards.
Yeah.
Why are there 6 cards? That's a mistake. You play poker with 5 cards. So it's not perfect.
Yeah.
You still have to keep an eye out for it, but look how much it's doing. It's giving me a whole scene. I can just go ahead and direct the scene.
If you wanna like make it correct, you just put it into.
I'd fix it in Banana.
Uh,
Yeah, and I'd prompt the fix. So we're going to learn about that next week on how to use Banana as an editor. Right now, we're just starting to get a scratch at it, just
Yeah.
creating characters. Next week, we'll start getting into improvements.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like I could take this. If you really want to start going there, edit image.
Yeah.
I choose the model. Banana Pro. Right. So now I'm in the correct model.
Yeah.
You know, there should only be 5 cards. Okay, so there's 6.
Yeah.
I'm not even, it's not prompt speak. I'm talking to it.
Uh,
I'm trying it. I'm starting there. Right. And the other thing that we learned here is that FreePeg has added this visual thing.
Yeah.
I can do a visual prompt.
oh.
So I'm trying it as a visual prompt.
Yeah.
And now it's gonna, let's see if it does it. And that's how it isn't like photoshopping where I have to like paint it.
Yeah.
It's just understanding what I'm saying. So now it's generating. See if it did it. 1, 2, 3. It's still not getting it right. See, it's still going. Do you feel like you feel like this is all stuff you learned last semester, right?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not doing a very good job.
Yeah.
So we're going to try a different approach. Let's try just a, so let's say the character is holding up 6 cards. I need that to be 5 playing cards in his hand. So delete the ace of hearts. So now I'm more specific. So let's try it. Do you see what I mean? Like you just kind of iterate with it. But the beauty of Banana Pro is that can be conversational.
Yeah.
I'm just talking to it.
Yeah.
I'm not, whereas like in Midjourney, you'll see it's more of like a prompt structure. Like it's a little, I have to sort of give it a little bit more of like a little bit more of a coding speak. Let's see if that fixed it. But this to me, that's why next week's going to be fun because now we're learning how nimble the manipulation is. This week, I just want us to get us like talking.
Do any of you guys have a shot done and ready?
I
Okay. As soon as you guys have one ready, just shoot it over to my email and then we'll get going. I'll put a couple on the board.
Is that what I was doing?
Yeah.
I thought I was running.
Almost ready.
Let's see. It's still jamming. So this is the kind of thing that maybe, first of all, I don't know how important that shot is to my movie. So sometimes I just say fuck it. But the other thing is that then I might just re-roll it and be more specific in the original prompt when I created it. But again, the upside of this technique is less about that stage. It's more about broader coverage and the ability to get multiple angles.
I see.
I would consider going into Photoshop at that level and then using the generative tool inside of Photoshop to like select an area. So I would start leaning into more sophisticated efforts to in paint. So what we're doing there is we're in painting. So that's something that we'll learn a little bit about next week too. Actually, let's try something. Let me see. There's another way to do this. I'm going to download. let's see, put here, wizard 6 cards. So in Midjourney, not Photoshop, they have some version of this tool. I'm gonna upload an image, wizard 6 cards.
Does Photoshop can show, I remember that their new function of AI can show different angles of the planned picture.
There's a 3D tool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's see. I'm going to try. Does it give me a select option? Smart select. Let's see. Include. I wonder if I can. Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see. And then exclude. Let's see. Remove base card. Let's see.
Okay, let's try.
Active selection detected. Is it going? Isolate, remove, or cancel your map. What does that mean? I don't do this that often. I was trying to find an easy solution. I would consider going in Photoshop and just like lassoing it and then
Just erase that.
or generatively erasing it. Because Photoshop is still more precise. Like for that level of detail, you're gonna have more success in Photoshop. Sometimes Nano Banana Pro works pretty well for that, but it seems like we're hitting a wall.
I also have a question
Okay.
about the character in Nano Banana.
The what?
So, about
character, yeah.
Character, yeah. So this one, I will only put the reference of the picture.
So that's your original picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one I put the first character sheet and I put this in the character and put this in the reference and the same plot. It give a totally different.
So let's are you trying to put that in the scene now?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would start with
Yep.
is let's see if we can change to Sea Dream and try creating your scene, and maybe let's see if we can upload your character sheet, upload media. Yeah. Okay. So now try your shot. Try describing your shot. Whatever scene you're making.
The starting frame.
Just whatever scene you want to put that character in. Like he's coming down the chimney, or he's in the living room, or swimming in a pool, whatever you want him to do.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. It took forever. Yeah, I did it.
How are we doing?
People are starting to send in some stuff to put on the board.
Great. Do you want me to plug you in?
Sure.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. So anybody who's trying to get the Notebook LM access, again, I can't use your USC email. So if anybody cares about that, that link that Brooke sent you, unfortunately, you're gonna have to go to your personal emails for whatever it doesn't work. I'm actually doing it right now, but if you could see my screen, you'll see that. I'm sorry, I don't know who Yadidian is. Sorry, that's you. So you're using your USC email.
Oh, yeah, I sent my personal.
Oh, maybe you said it afterwards. Got it. Like Yin Hanzu. So you got to use your personal email for the Notebook LM. And then Anish, you got it. You're in. Thank you. And again, that's just a resource. I'm just trying to like speed up instead of just jumping on YouTube and getting lost. Some of these things are sort of there. And tell me if it works. This is my first time using it. I hope it works. I think it's cool.
This video completely crashing my computer.
Y Wang 398. Who's Y Wang 398? Okay, you need to send me a personal email. Tian Ms. said you need to use your personal email. Got it. Great.
Yeah, yours is honestly way better.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And then describe it here.
Simple as dandy. What a great name.
A video of a panda dancing completely bricked my computer.
Yeah.
What?
Like everything else is fine, but this is bricked entire. Wait, are we back?
That's funny. Funny. All right, I'm gonna turn off the recording. We have to save the internet.